That will do indeed. So here we are,
That'll be
folks.
good.
It's a new week, and boy, did some information come out that we were not necessarily expecting to finally drop. And boy, if you know,
Oh,
all the
come
conspiracy
on.
theorists weren't right the whole time.
Oh, come on. It's not like they actually dropped all of it. They just gave you pages. Some of them have text, some of them don't.
True, true. And then
Some
there's a
of them
lot of
have some
emails in
text.
there. And to be fair, there's
There are a
even
lot of emails.
there are a lot of
A
emails
lot of them.
and some videos too, and some other videos that
There
has
are.
yeah. And they some people would
There
say some of
are.
those videos are even kind of disturbing, not in and of
Now,
themselves,
I have,
but in context.
I appreciate very much that the Justice Department did go out of their way to make sure they didn't turn everyone who viewed the files into a criminal
Yeah, because that was
due to the nature of the shit that is certain to exist among the collection. Same as with the Hunter Biden laptop files, how possessing certain versions of that hard drive put people who viewed them or possessed them writ large at great personal risk merely by the possession of it.
mm-hmm.
I would say that the Epstein files are a greater risk, but
Yeah, there's a lot there. And
yeah.
then we kind of fall back to the whole like I mean, we're pretty open about the shit we talk about here, but even sometimes we've got to be circumspect. Whereas
Some folks. Well, I'll
whereas
say this
well,
about the stuff, especially like Biden. I've never been not honest with the way I describe things. I've never been dishonest with the way I describe things. When I said it was someone who wasn't me, it literally was, gratefully, someone who wasn't me.
oh yeah, no,
I'm
sure. And
gonna tell you,
well that's
I'm
not
gonna
even what
tell you
I'm
that would be really scary.
well that's not even what I'm talking about because I want to give a specific example from the
Oh
files that were
sure,
dropped from the emails. Okay, so this is
do
from
tell.
redacted to
Uh huh.
redacted
Oh,
uh,
okay, we know that guy.
to a long list of redacteds.
Ah, okay. So the
Uh,
extended redacted.
date
Got it.
of Wednesday the 7th, 2019 at 12:34 p.m. Subject:
All right.
murder for hire meet. Hello everyone,
Oh,
comma redacted. Says he is ready to meet ref the murder of his ex-girlfriend. He wants the meeting to occur in a non-public place in NJ. Is there any day
hold on.
that works for you guys next week? Redacted.
So this is a person who wants to meet with someone among the long list who murdered their girlfriend.
No, no, no. This is someone who needs their girlfriend murdered and is
Ah,
sending it
okay,
out
okay.
to
So we
this
have a
long
list of
list.
murderers then.
Or
We have a list of murderers
or con or
or murder
contractors or
brokers.
something or
Okay.
fucking what? I don't know. But yeah.
Like is now I have to ask though, like among the list was there any company like Murders R Us or Murders for Hire? We do murders, murder for sale.
Well,
Um,
Murder Inc. was already
Bring your
not
own
a thing
murders.
anymore by the time this happened, so not that are named specifically, no. And I mean, to be fair, he called it Little
I
St.
just want to
James
know
Island,
what kind of American
not Kid
kind of
Rapetopia
American
or
business they have
anything.
here.
He was a little bit circumspect, much like I was saying there, like where we might be circumspect and maybe make an analogy to something and not just come out and say, "Oh, hey, I got this murder I need done." In an open email to a bunch of fucking
Mm,
people. Oh, and let me just follow up, by the
uh-huh.
way. Then later, 3 minutes later, I'll let you guys know as soon as I can. We may have to head out of state on more Epstein stuff, so I'm not sure about next week. Should know in the next day or so. With a reply being, copy THX. So, you know, we might have to beat around the bush a little on certain topics just because, you know, censorship and whatever. These motherfuckers are sending importance normal, subject murder for hire meat. What?
You see, when you say it like that, I know you mean MEET.
Yeah.
But
well, there's the other fucking
like...
part of the thing. So, like I was saying, it's all fucking true. Murder meat, yep. Yuppa-duppa-doo. It sounds like we got some folks out there that have got a taste for long pig. You know, like I say,
I'd go ahead and bring that part up.
I mean, you segued it, brother. So here we are.
I just,
whether you meant to or not, we're here. We have arrived. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the world of today. Everyone clap.
This is the conversations we get to have now.
Yep.
Yeah, please clap, right? Speaking of please clap, so did it get hairy inside the communications? Was there any kind of was there anything in needing of trimming in there?
Well, that depends.
I can feel that part of your soul dying.
Well, no. Well, let's go to the the one bit I read from that little mail chain was actually in reply to someone posting something else that was from Jeffrey Epstein to Martin Nowak, whomever that might be.
Okay.
Harvard professor Martin Nowak. Oh, okay, so that's who that is. Anyway, so let me see here. Martin Nowak.
I gotta preface all of the rest of this that in a certain capacity, this is like as devil's advocate as you can get with this guy. There are a lot of he was like socialite herpes. He tried to get to know everybody. So
that's true.
The mere presence of a name among the files.
Well, I haven't got to read the email yet, so hold
that's
hold
what I was
your.
gonna say.
You might want to hold your horses on any kind of caveats until after I've read this.
Well, I think that it's not going to apply here.
No, sir. No, it does not. No caveats on this one. No, sir. So anyway, Martin Nowak sends a email to Jeffrey Epstein, reading line 1. Oh, I should mention this too. This March 10th, 2014. At 7:07 a.m., our spy was captured after completing her mission, line 2, to which Jeffrey Epstein sends to Martin Nowak, martin1nowak@gmail.com, as listed in this, saying, "Did you torture her?" That's all. We don't really have the follow-up on that.
I mean, inquiring minds would like to know now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, they really would.
Bear in mind that friends of mine and I will send dumb shit back and forth to each other. So, just little things, but that's stretching and straining credulity as to any kind of alternative.
Yeah. Or, there's another good example about, where some folks are saying, hey, there's me and, 5 of my friends at the office today. We'd like to share one slice of Jeffrey Epstein's pizza. And
so that was actually going to be my next question here were there any mentions of pizza?
Oh, rather a fucking load of them. But more importantly, we should mention very importantly here now, because we've got Blondie. She's on the case, She's getting things done. And because she's got such important people in her office, like Todd Blanche, a deputy attorney general, well, work's getting done. As a matter of fact, I've got this reporting out of CNN here telling us that, reporting that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has thus far signaled that there will be no new charges brought in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. So it's all in good hands, folks.
Well, hold on. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the margin of hope.
Now, this is reporting via CNN.
Only that Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Hey. That Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and therefore an investigation of him specifically is no longer necessary.
There are people that say that he's dead, yes. There are people
But
that also say that he's not. And at this
just
point, I don't
let's
fucking know.
let's not care about them for a moment. Um, the
Oh,
official word is that he's dead.
and
The
what?
official word is that he's dead. Why would the keepers of the official word need to investigate a dead man further
Well, yeah.
when there are so many living people?
Well, on top of that, too, dead men tell no tales. Why do you want to listen to a dead man say nothing?
Hey,
Right?
now, when there are so many living people still on the list.
True. Very true. And just as a matter of fact,
Why
breaking.
would they? Why throw that? Why throw that into the wind that they're investigating specific people on, inside said files, when they could just deny investigating one person in said files?
True. Well, he's the one that was
There's some
responsible,
subtext
and,
there.
and we already know that he didn't traffic anyone to anyone, or from anyone to anyone, or retrieve them for
Oh
anyone. They just appeared out of nowhere.
Hey, that was never established. We know that
Well,
Jelaine
true. That was
never
just
trafficked
implied.
anyone. It was Jelaine that was specifically, uh, you know, determined to have never trafficked anyone to anyone
Right. Of
or
course.
anything.
Right, and of course the girls appeared out of thin air as well as they do, and unfortunately appears they disappeared into
Well,
it
if they didn't,
also.
no, they didn't all disappear into thin air.
Oh, not all, just some. Just,
the one disappeared into a car accident.
Yeah.
And I believe the other one disappeared into a mugging or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then of course the many and varied ones that may have disappeared into some sort of meat processing facilities. Who can say? We actually can't, unfortunately, but sadly, we have to lend credence to some of the most horrifying conspiracy theories that we have heard in our life, because fucking before this even dropped, we were sitting at about 50%, and now we're at like at least 80, bare minimum. But anyway, like I was saying, I've actually got a little bit of breaking something for you here. Kim.com, which...
Oh, that faggot. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I like Mega. Mega is a fantastic service. Kim.com is a fucking kook.
He's got his moments. He's absolutely got his moments. Like,
he's an anti-American prick.
He is not specifically anti-American, but yeah, kind of.
Yeah, he is. He's a fucking anti-American. I'm sorry.
It's complicated, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Because yet another one of the weird "how in the fuck are we mutuals" thing. Yeah, actually. Why?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. But anyway, I sent him a message. I'll just read off.
Maybe he listens.
Hey Kim, you want to come on sometime? I will. I promise Craig will be nice.
There you go. No, just come on directly and call me an asshole in my face. I would welcome that.
Fair. Well, anyway, this falls back to actually the bullshit that happened, and he made it. Well, I'll just read it out. This is the most prominent and documented incident of Vice President Joe Biden meeting Hollywood representatives at the White House occurred on July 27th, 2011. This was a lengthy meeting focused on intellectual property issues, copyright enforcement, including anti-piracy efforts, and trade matters related to expanded U.S. film access in Canada. Hollywood representative and executives who attended included Chris Dodd, chairman and CEO of the MPAA, Barry Meyer, CEO of Warner Brothers, Brad Gray, CEO of Paramount Pictures, Ronald Meyer, president and CEO of Universal, Jeff Blake. Well, they're all going to be. Anyway, Jeff Blake, vice president of Sony Pictures Entertainment.
Don't you dare detect a pattern here. There was no pattern.
I can't help the noticing, Craig. I can't help the noticing. Anyway, Rich Ross, chairman of Walt Disney, Michael O'Leary, MPAA senior exec, and Michael Ellis, managing director of MPAA Asia and International MPAA. And there, they agreed to shut down...
International asshole.
Yeah. They agreed to the shutdown of Mega Upload. Michael Ellis, an extradition expert from Hong Kong, where Mega Upload and I were based, met with Prime Minister John Key of New Zealand and other government officials. They claimed that Mega Upload was never discussed. And, of course, now we know that that was, in fact, done. But I replied to him and said, boy, would I love to know how many of those names are redacted in the release a few days ago. And, well, golly gosh, if old Kim didn't get back to me on that. Funny
Really?
coincidence. The MPAA
Really?
lawyer who wanted to lock me up for 186 years lost his job for sex crimes.
Well, isn't that a damn shock?
Huh. Funny. It's a funny old world.
You know, I'll say this about him: if you can judge a man by the enemies he accumulates,
Yeah, that's,
right?
it does speak well
Yeah,
for him in that regard. Most certainly.
I exactly.
So, credit where it's due. And
Still, I will claim
I
an
would really like it
anti-American
if they
too.
would stop fucking around
But
with him so that he could stop saying some of the dumb shit that he does. But it's whatever. It's whatever.
yeah.
I would be, it's just, I think he says some dumb things. If you're
Oh,
listening, Kim,
you should still come
bring it
talk
up,
to
man.
us.
We'll talk it out. I am more than happy. I am more than happy. I mean, like, no bullshit. We're mutuals. I like the guy. I kind of respect him. So, he wants to come on. He is welcome here on the show. I was going to give a voice to fucking Prigo, but he... Anyway. Man, that would have been such a fucking crazy show, dude. That would have been the wildest shit. Well, anyway. On to things that are happening and are, roughly as crazy. So, Mr. Maduro, he's in jail now. Well known.
Where he belongs.
Yeah. Well, of course, he's unfortunately he's messing with our crime demographics just a little bit. As he is a white man.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. He's registered a 63-year-old white male
Well,
located in Brooklyn, MDC.
Here's part of the issue. Well, here's the issue. You see, we distinguish between ethnicity and race in this country as two separate characteristics.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the system that logs inmates in jails around this country, federal and states and city, etc., at all levels of jurisdiction, including private and public, they don't have a clear system for ethnicity and race being distinguished. Oftentimes,
that's fair. They do have Latin
in the same category.
Basically, in all of them, though, if they were so inclined as to use it.
Sometimes they are one in the same category. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying oftentimes they're one in the same category. And what you'll see with those, sometimes, not always, is that when they specify something like sometimes it'll be Latin, sometimes it'll be white, Hispanic, white, non-Hispanic. Which is, one of those fun things, because then if they talk about black, they don't have black, Hispanic, black, non-Hispanic. Those aren't necessarily. That's just one of those things where Hispanic is assumed to be white, and then of course there's unknown, which is a catch-all that includes mixed.
Oh well,
and sometimes it's just whatever the guard guesses.
I guess
at intake.
Well,
so Maduro would likely be considered white in a system where they do have race and ethnicities separated. And the default would be white.
Wait. So hold on. This is Brooklyn. They recognize 72 genders. They have to have it in there.
That doesn't mean they have to have it in there.
It fucking, if they're gonna put 72 genders down in another book,
that means they have his pronouns. I'm sorry, but did you ask? I didn't hear you ask his pronouns.
Well, I don't work in the.
We're talking about the person. Maybe we should know what his pronouns are. I think I would guess that would be one of the first questions.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually don't have to ask his pronouns because that was the one part of his society that he did have kind of a reasonable lockdown on. Like there were just men and women.
Oh, right.
Like that was the one thing that he managed to not fuck up somehow.
What kind of language do they speak down there? I'm pretty sure it's a specific kind of language. It was born out of an empire, was it not? It's one of those.
They speak the language of dance, Craig. It's a language of passion. You wouldn't understand.
No, that's the next country. That's the country next door.
Oh, but anyway, speaking of dancing Hispanics, I've got a comment here from Kyle Kalinske. That is,
Oh boy.
yes, yes. So anyway,
Now that would be a person who would be fun to have on the show.
it would be a trip, and I'd be down.
That'd be interesting.
It would. So anyway, he posts
Because
this.
especially if I find out ahead of time. If I find out ahead of time, I'm talking all kinds of shit before he gets on here, just so I can have him riled up and saying, "But you said this."
Oh yeah, no, it would be
yeah,
good.
I didn't say it to your face.
It would be good.
Sorry. Anyway, he said something.
Yes. So he posts up a picture of the agent that got Alex Preddy.
Oh, okay.
And says, so Alex Preddy got killed by a Hispanic guy, desperately trying to be white, and the world's most obvious closet case. So,
So he's just a fucking racist, is all you're saying.
Well, not only is he a racist, he's got some sort of problem with gays too. I mean, goodness gracious, Kyle.
This is also
what are you doing, buddy?
From his previous
you gotta get out of that closet, man. You gotta break out and be free. You're gonna go watch fucking Too Long 4 or whatever.
Interesting, isn't it, how that has been adopted so widely on the left after a certain election.
Mm-hmm. Oh, even better still.
All of a sudden it's
we're starting to see him say retard.
All of a sudden it's in vogue. Oh yeah. The dreaded R word.
The R slur. So good.
I'm never recognizing it as a slur. It is a word, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can use it as a slur, but it's technically a medical term. So
you could, but I don't do that.
Well, like for instance, if we were to go back to what I was reporting on earlier, if the reporting out of CNN is accurate, that Todd Blanche signals that there will be no new charges brought in the investigation at large, well, then he would obviously be a retard, both by mental definition and
I'd say that would be retarded. Well, you see, that's the thing is I generally distinguish where if I'm referencing someone as being retarded, I usually mean that the density of the stupidity within their skull is such that it slows down the space-time around me and consumes my life force by wasting my time that way.
And since we're on the topic of retards, we need to tie this all back into what is probably going to be the overarching theme of this episode, because, I mean, let's be real, it is the biggest fucking thing in the news for a damn while, and is going to be. And that is, we've come back. By golly, it's always August. It never changes. 2015. We're back. Hashtag Gamergate.
Oh, it's the current year again?
It never changes, Craig. It's always going to be the current year. It's always going to be some dumb hoe fucked 5 guys.
It's the current year plus 11, all right?
So, we've got this narrative that's going around here that because let's start with the narrative and just let this delicious story play out for the ones who haven't heard it.
Okay.
Because I know you know where I'm going with this. So, this narrative is going around that Epstein went out there and is responsible for Gamergate happening, because this was a planned.
No, that's a good one.
Oh, it is, and I
want to hear.
I can't do justice to this explaining that. I'm going to just read the tweet. Every chud who let themselves get radicalized by shit like Gamergate was playing right into the hands of a cabal of facade-controlled pedophiles and child murderers. Wokeness has never been more vindicated.
So
you have no idea how hard it was for me to just say that shit.
Fries whore herself? Did this come from the Five Guys Burgers and Fries whore herself?
No. Some fucking rando. Gen Z Superboy.
So not Stancil then. All right.
Also no. Amazing.
By the way, the fact that he has been ousted by the left and he is discovering every terrible.
Oh yeah.
The left.
The
in real time.
Stanzelwaffen
It's
rises.
pretty fucking great. he's gonna be. He's gonna be.
He is going to be.
He's gonna
Okay,
be
so
leading
who's the one
fucking
dude?
ice raids
Matthew Van
soon.
Swole
He's
from
gonna be.
North Carolina. That was like the hard lefty,
Yeah.
and then the fucking.
Right.
Then all the shit happened, and he got literally
Yeah, the
abandoned
North
by the Biden
Carolina.
administration. And he was like, "Holy
Yeah,
shit! What
he
the hell?
figured out
We're
all
just
of a
people
sudden-
trying to live." And then he starts learning. Oh, Will Stancil. Oh, gorgeousness and gorgeosity. Oh, the sights you shall see. Oh, the sights. But anyway.
Dude's gonna be foaming at the mouth. in fucking Georgia or Alabama.
So good. So good. So,
He's
what,
gonna be writing the fucking Stancil show in the next episode.
oh, guest starring Will Stancil. Oh, I could see it actually happening. You know, she actually got Dasha. Like, that wasn't an AI voice.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Like, she got both of them. That was actually both of them. It's that fucking big now. Shit's wild. We are on the other side of the mirror. Or we're back on the right side of the mirror. Maybe. That's possible, too.
Who knows?
But to the context here. So, Gamergate happens 10-ish years ago, and things get weird on Poll, where it was being discussed.
Yeah. Two
Poll,
dragons.
And, boy, we've gone, man, we come full circle on this shit. So
Yes,
anyway.
the mutinying happened. There was a bit of a mutiny.
Yeah, there was. So it came down from on top that, well, we're not going to have that here. And
Yeah, why
so that became
happen?
problematic, and that kind of moved over to V, and then 8chan happened.
Then
And
we had a fucking retard on a scooter decide that he was not going to stomach that.
yeah, he couldn't handle,
After he started getting
you know,
attention
making
from
the world
women.
better. So, he felt the need to stop. Old fire tires. The choices we make, huh? So anyway, yeah, so there's this narrative that basically, which is even funnier still, it's like, oh, you all got caught up in a Mossad op, bunch of child-eating rapists. Like, bro,
All right.
no, that's, I'm down with this narrative. So we're talking about this in the open now. So that's what it is. Because, that's what it is. Here we are. Ring-a-ding-ding. Welcome to 2026. February 1st. Enjoy the new year. It's only been a fucking decade since the last show. Man. Time is really something. Oh, but, as you know, time is on your side. Yes, it is.
It's relative.
Well, it depends. If you're up in New York, it is. So it's a shame, actually, that our man Steve can't be here for this little bit of news. Out of the New York Post, Mamdani is graciously allowing the New York homeless folks to stay in their places of comfort because he cares about them so much. As opposed to, in his words, as a last resort, move them off of the streets. Because there's negative temperatures and all, but they're in their place. They're comfortable. They're on the streets. They don't need to be inside where, they won't freeze to death. So it's fine, right? They get to retain their dignity. They, for a short time get to work as statuary, and then, thaw, and then of course they'll have to, take them to the morgue.
I watched a video of Mike Rappaport in New York City earlier today.
Oh, really? How'd that work
walking
out?
along the street. It's remarkable his transformation from Trump hater, talking about little Dick Trump, little Dick Orange Man constantly, to coming around on him after seeing what 4 years of Biden looked like.
No, you don't say. Yeah, he's
What
had
that
a
will
lot
do
of
to a
harsh
guy,
words to
apparently.
say. over the years.
Yeah, so he's walking down the street in the Upper East Side. 3 minutes from where the fucking the mayor's palace is
Mm-hmm.
in New York City. And he noticed that there's trash piled taller than him on the side of the street.
Oh yeah, I saw a
As he's
really cool
walking.
picture of a box that was full of used
And
condoms just in the middle of the road.
and also that all of the cars parked on the side of the street are more or less landlocked at this point. Looking at the dirt and the snow piled up against people's cars. There's great videos going around of people trying to get out of their parking spots, their parallel parking spots on the sides of the street. So it's not like a parking lot style kind of parking space. It's although it might as well be at this point given the way they can't move. It's all parallel parking, and people are locked in by snow buildup, being just pushed off to the side. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, their
salting
vehicles
the
are
roads.
basically kind of cemented in.
They're not
car
salting the
bunkers.
roads. Not salting the roads. They're not picking up trash. The trash is stacked up taller than all the vehicles. It's not like one little pile. That's the thing is, in the video, he's still talking about the cars as he's walking along, and you just notice behind the cars, it's just every car has like at least as much trash as the volume of the car built up behind the car, and he's just talking about the cars because it's just what's closer to him. Like he mentions the trash in the video a little bit, and there's just the cars are just immediately next to him because he's walking in the middle of the fucking road. Because nobody can get out and drive, so nobody's on the street at the time.
Yeah.
It's also I'm guessing he did it today, a Sunday morning, so I can see how it'd be kind of low traffic.
Yeah.
But it's just ridiculous.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, it's completely ridiculous.
It's just again. My guess is that he did not vote for Mamdani, but this is what all of his neighbors voted for.
And now here's some wild shit, because we're bringing it back. Because just about every the crazy thing is just about every topic we could cover will be able to be brought back, which is the wild shit. But anyway, we're bringing this one back directly because there is, as a matter of fact, a non-zero chance that Zoran Mamdani is actually Zoran Epstein.
I saw that funny photo.
Oh, the two of them next to each other?
It's
like
fully convinced.
Well,
I am not fully convinced, but it was
actually,
very convincing.
Well, I'm not talking the photo.
It's very interesting.
Because
I know there's more. I'm just saying that the photo, the side by side.
Oh yeah, when they do the the thing with the Bill
look.
Clinton and his black kid, where they put the faces over and the transparency, it's like, oh wow.
I didn't see that. I just saw
there's-
it side by side with two different photos with good separation. Like it wasn't a halfway down the middle thing.
Oh okay. Well, let me
one photo on one side, one photo on the other.
Well, I'll put this little collage in the staff chat, and I'll actually just bring it up on the screen real quick here.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He has that kind of profile, doesn't he?
But anyway, I was going somewhere with this.
That would be interesting to see him fucking New York twice, huh?
Yeah, wouldn't it though? So, what we got here, I'll long and short it. Let me grab the link to the post, and I'll throw that in the show links below for anybody who wants to follow along at home. But just long and short here, his mother's name was Mira. She was a filmmaker in New York in the 80s, and she ran in arty circles. And she made a documentary called Children of a Desired Sex in 87, which is just a couple years before Zoran was born.
Oh, boy.
And between 81 and 89, she was married to a man by the name of Mitch Epstein. No relation, probably. But the thing is, she has described it as around those times. Now, that's not a normal way for a woman to describe the years of her marriage. So the real years might not be so specific as that. So anyway,
it is if she's a whore. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she met her second husband, Mahmoud Mondami, she says, in 1989. during film research in Uganda, married him in 91. And then,
And Mari said,
and then Zoran was born in October of 1991 in Kampala. The possibilities of that are not the best with the timelines that exist. So Myra and Mitch Epstein reportedly had no children, despite being married for 8-ish years. Jeffrey Epstein and Mitch Epstein, who say they're unrelated, have similar backgrounds, look similar. And so women, when they like a kind of guy, they like a kind of guy. So read into that whatever you like. But then
when they are whores, they are whores.
Well, yeah, and if they like guys that maybe she's into egg-shaped penises, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so there's this fair overlap, and she's running in the same circles. But then we add on top of this that Mira did know and had interacted with him prior, and knew him and interacted with him in the 2000s, and was named in a 2009 email from Peggy Siegel to Jeffrey Epstein as part of an after party at Ghislaine Maxwell's in NYC townhouse after her film came out. There is a very real chance that those two were running in the same circles at the same time. A lot of her money came from kind of shady circles. She only has one child, Zoran Mamdani. Could be.
That we know of.
True. But I mean, it's a possibility.
Not saying there's more. I'm just saying
that is all there is. But all there is a fair bit. So maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. I don't know. But it's very interesting, and there is legitimately a non-zero chance, which is just the wildest shit in the whole damn world.
I mean, it would be very funny.
Wouldn't it?
It would be very, very funny.
It's something. It's something.
Now, far be it for me to point out the huge irony of him being a self-hating Jew at that point.
Oh, fair. That would be very funny. That would be so funny.
It would be on point and on character.
Man, I hope somebody goes up to him and is like, so your dad's like Jeffrey Epstein, right? I can get that shit on a live stream or something. Oh my God. That would somebody needs to put a bounty on that right now. Right. If I had the money, I would do it myself. But speaking of the worst thing that happened to New York City since 9/11, let's talk about another 9/11. And that's Back to the Files, of which there are 911 mentions of pizza. Generally, it is with maybe something else too, like a Chinese cookie or grape soda. Because
oh boy, so
what does that mean? That's a good question.
So you're telling me that the what was the word for this?
Horrors?
Oh yeah, Pizzagate.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
May have had some kind of veracity to it, as and not as sensationalized.
Well, let me see here. We have from redacted to jevacation@gmail.com. Subject Veru. Attachments Veru Equity Research. Brookline PDF. This is better than a Chinese cookie. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. Go no. And then from redacted to redacted. Spoof on Chandelier. The video I sent YU with the amazing little girl dance. Totally loved it. Pizza party was great. We had a lot of fun. Stayed late. We all slept in yesterday morning. Your night was good? Question mark. Like, what?
I know.
What adult groups have pizza parties? Just like you're an adult, right, Craig?
You're
like you're an adult. You have pizza parties all the time, don't you, Craig?
That's the thing is adults do have pizza parties, but I think that your Freudian slip there was more accurate. I think most adults don't have pedophile parties.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, only if they're the rich and powerful, it seems, and most of them. But yeah.
yeah,
But let's read another.
most
Let's
adults don't
read
do
another
whole
and just
pedophile
let's
thing.
just dive on down this fun path we found here. What do we have here? Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, here's a neat one.
Well, fun is a
Kids
way
are
to
hungry.
describe it.
Subject pizza time from redacted to redacted. Then a reply to that. Yum, that looks good. The boys are really cute too. Smiley face. I just need redacted by 4:10 p.m. He
Oh,
needs
you
a
need to
quick
go take
shower,
another
then
shower.
going
Holy
to
shit!
doctor for his annual. Sent from iPhone. Oh, here. You got it. 4:10. You will be there, Smiley. Then thanks for taking from redacted to redacted. Thanks for taking the boys for pizza. Redacted was sad he had to leave the fun. Hope you have a great time skiing. Be safe. From redacted. Oh, from Diane to redacted. Thank you. We love to
I
have
am who?
redact. That's a good question. We love to have redacted with us. He is so cute. Have a great week. XOXO. Sit from
Now,
iPhone.
when people talk about the Epstein list, I get a feeling that a list could be compiled, given all the emails, because
Oh, sure, yeah.
like and you know this
Hey,
this is not
you want to
something
know
you
want to
you don't
know an
even need
interesting
AI to
thing about
automate.
grape soda? If you take the G off of the grape,
You get grape soda.
no, you don't. You get a
Okay.
different flavor of soda.
Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Isn't that canola oil, right?
That's a seed. That is a seed. And
Oh, okay.
I'm not going any farther with that because
So
the shit's already too dark.
so not rapeseed then.
No, no.
More like and not rape soda.
Well, I mean, kinda.
That's well, I suppose. No, never mind. Like it's not even getting into the environment of
Yeah,
certain
no, this is all
areas.
just kind of horrible, really. So, but you know what
Yeah.
isn't horrible? A U9 red pizza party. Yes, that is fine. Can't wait. Sent from Samsung Mobile. Or,
Oh boy.
yeah, what's a U9 red pizza party? Just, I wonder. I've never heard of a U9 red pizza party.
You don't think they're united?
I mean, they might be. Or, yeah. What time do you want to get
There isn't
pizza
even a
and grape
charitable
soda
way to read
tomorrow?
any of this. There's not even a way to charitably read into this stuff. It's just that's the thing is this shit was fucking obvious before there was evidence like plastered everywhere
Yeah.
because there was evidence that was plastered everywhere.
Yeah,
And
right
now
out
you
there to
have
see.
fucking 3 million emails or whatever.
And let's go back to something that we covered back in the day.
Now
And
I do have a question though.
oh yeah,
Is there a Comet Pizza Shop that's involved?
that's
Because
exactly where I was going to go with that because this
uh
is
huh.
something we covered back in the day. So Comet Pizza Ping Pong or Comet Ping Pong Pizza, excuse me. What the fuck
Oh,
do I if
okay.
I get it wrong?
Comet
Right.
Ping Pong Pizza.
So Comet is run by this guy by the name of James Alefantis. Noted, I believe it was Newsweek, could be mistaken, but I believe it was Newsweek said he was one of the most powerful up and coming young men in Washington D.C. at the time.
Uh huh.
And of course,
What happened to that young man?
we'll get around to it. He opened a pizza joint, actually, or bought one out.
Okay.
Showed some pictures of the renovation, showed the basement where they had the not the locker,
Children.
the freezer,
Oh, okay.
the freezer. There were, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's a story. Well, it's a journey. We're walking. So, walking.
There's a journey involved, yes.
Mm-hmm. There is a journey. There is. So, we're walking this path one step at a time. So James Alefantis, he
One
gets this
stab at a
place,
time. All right.
opens it up, does some renovations, posts some pictures on his Instagram of the basement freezer where they're able to keep all their foodstuffs.
And children. Sorry,
Maybe,
continue.
maybe, who knows? Probably not though. But
Well, the guy who's dead. But
well, I'll add a little bit of context to that because there might be some that you may or may not be aware of, and I know that only a portion of our audience will be. But we'll get to that. So he posts this, and then he posts a bunch of crazy pictures, like a bunch of wild shit, like one kid taped down, kind of in the same way that you might
taped down.
yeah, taped down with their mouth taped shut on a ping pong table at Comet Ping Pong, and then
Let me guess. This is another artist rendering, like Clinton in a dress.
well, no, it was actually just a picture of a child whose
Oh, just a
arms were,
picture. Okay.
yeah,
Just
they
wanted
were
to make
they
sure.
were kind
I thought it
of
was just a picture.
kind of bent over at the waist and taped down on the table with their mouth taped shut.
Oh boy.
Which even in context, what's the context there?
There is not a context that is going to make this okay.
Yeah, so
this is one of those open and shut, easy to
and then that's
to
just
judge
one.
for oneself.
And that's just one. Although that's a particularly egregious one, that's just one. Then we get another picture of a kid, hanging out in the freezer at one point. And this is all, just some background.
Hey,
some
I
things
said
that
there
happen.
are freezer stored children. Don't
Right,
you get off
right,
my
right, exactly.
don't
Well,
you get
yeah.
on my case over this.
Well, I don't think that was so much. Well, we're walking. We're walking.
Storage
We'll get
is
there.
the right term, I think.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We're walking this path. So he posts all these interesting images, has all
Feels like
sorts
we're
of
fucking ice
interesting
skating,
artists, performance and visual art alike come and perform at Comet Ping Pong, this up-and-coming place that all the important ne'er-do-wells of Washington, D.C. like to frequent. And then something happens. Some information gets out, and then people are talking about this Pizzagate and all this, that, and the other. And James Alefantis, he comes out and he makes it entirely clear we do not have a basement. We have no freezer. There is no such thing. Now, if one were so inclined as to look up the blueprints of the building and see that, in fact, it does have a basement, that does, in fact, include a
Yes, those
freezer,
would be lies, right?
and also that this basement and this freezer are close to a closed down, underground tunnel system that was once used for the subway, but that portion is now defunct and no longer used. Sure, that would be true and the case, and the way that things are set up there physically. Now, what does that mean? Couldn't tell you. But I could tell you that there is a deep freeze and a basement right next to a long unused underground tunnel system. Does that mean something? I don't know. It very well fucking could. But I can't tell you that it does. But I can tell you that an actor with bit roles here and there, some little nobody, he gets it in his mind that he's going to go there and he's going to set things right. So he gets his .357 Magnum and his AR-15 and he loads them up in his car and he drives down there and he makes a big old scene, and by golly, he gets to that back room because, after all, it doesn't have a basement. We've since learned, even though, well, whatever. So he goes to the back room where the computer server and all the important data and everything is, where he's going to unmask this whole thing and blow it wide open, and he fires one round with his AR-15 through the bullet right through the lock, opening up that door. And by golly, wouldn't you know it, if that bullet didn't manage to make its way through every single hard drive in that room and destroy all of the data on all of them? Man, what's the luck of that? Who could imagine that something like that could happen? But it did. Magic bullets happen.
Straining credulity, man.
Boy, I wish I were even stretching this at all. Because it's just, that's the reporting that I'm supposed to believe. So he fires one shot into the lock, through the metal lock into the hard drive or hard drives. There's apparently only one hard drive in their one computer, and it was destroyed, or there were multiples. Either way, all the data was destroyed that was in any sort of storage at Comet Ping Pong by that. And then, of course, he found found nothing there.
It sounds positively Somali. Sorry, Somalian, I guess.
Well, it do be like that. It do be like that. So
okay.
he gets arrested after all this, like a short little baby style standoff. They come in, arrest the guy, and James Alefantis very upset, very scared, very frightened. Scared for his life because somebody's going to come in here. Now, mind you, there apparently were this has been a while, but I believe there were people on the scene at the time, and he urged them out before he shot the one bullet at the thing and destroyed all the data. So the cops take him in.
Did he shout like, damn you, Batman, or something when he did it?
He probably said, "This is MAGA country," if we're being completely honest.
No, okay, got it.
As one is wont to do. So he does his. So the actor does his thing, shoots his one bullet, gets arrested. We kind of don't really hear much from him for a while. He serves his time, gets out, and we report on that. He kind of disappears into the ether. And then a short time later, he's at a traffic stop, and wouldn't you know it, died in a shootout. Yeah, they shot him, and that's the story of him.
Okay.
Period. So there's a.
That sounds devastating.
So that happened.
That's devastating to his case.
Yeah, not that helpful for him to clear himself. So yeah, there you go. There's all your unanswered questions. I've got literally nothing else for you on that. That's the whole story.
Yeah, all my unanswered questions, all of them.
Yep. Yep. Oh, and back to the the friend of the people, Todd Blanche. He did, as a matter of fact, reveal that there are. Okay, hold on. Let me get the exact quote here. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche admitted the DOJ excluded images that would include, quote, death, physical abuse, or injury. So they have images and video that include, potentially, according to Todd Blanche, death, physical abuse, or injury.
Now, what Todd Blanche needs to get off his keys for and mention is how many.
That would be a handy thing to know.
Because I want the fucking disposition of that. I don't need to see them to know that they exist. I will trust him on that if he gives me a fucking number.
Yeah, might be helpful.
I think that is a compromise that we can all appreciate. Of the things that were not published, what was the nature of them, and how many of each of these of the categories that were designated as not publishable? Right.
It would be nice to know.
Well,
so many things it would be good to know about.
You join us at the end of the show.
I apologize. My wife wanted to watch Jurassic Park Afterbirth. And that was pretty terrible. That is.
Did you expect different, though?
I did. Well, see, here's the thing. Right, like, and I saw Asmongold comment on this, not about this specific thing, but he was talking about games, and specifically the failure of High Guard, right, which is Concord 2. And so he made the comment of something along the lines of all of these Western media, games in particular, like you can just feel it in the story. And it really is true. And Jurassic Park is a perfect example of that, because all of that like skill that used to go into writing doesn't exist. And I think it's because I think it's because identitarians, and even in a non-identitarian movie, right? It's still the same people getting rotated around story room to story room to story room. They're just
Oh wait, is it the
they're
Surf
not
Dracula
building
thing?
skill. What's that?
Is this the Surf Dracula thing? Maybe because this is the perfect time to mention it. If not, 'cause it's such
No,
a
no.
it's. I'll just read it off because it's perfect. This is an old one from a couple of years back. Back in the day, if you did a TV show called Surf Dracula, you'd see that fool surfing every week in new adventures. But in the streaming era, the entire first season is going to be a long ass flashback of how he got the surfboard until you finally see him surf in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
what you end up doing is the whole synopsis of these shows is that, well, actually the whole synopsis of identitarian politics is that you are the only story that really matters is not what you do or how you got there, it's who and what you are. And the problem is that if you go back to like Shakespeare, where Shakespeare documented all of the different conflicts, I think there's 12 different theoretical conflicts that you can have. The problem is in the woke writing room, what ended up coming out was, and this came from the sci-fi stuff, is that you cannot have a character if the focus of the woke writing room is the self and the expression of the self. You cannot have a character attempt to overcome themselves, and this is actually in the whatever it is, the background rules for writing science fiction and whatnot. Not allowed, right? Like, you can't overcome your disability, you can't overcome your sense of self. So what you get is they're going to focus entirely on the character. They're not going to have any character conflict. It ends up coming across kind of like a Hallmark movie where like the story is propelled forward not by a series of logical action, not by the presentation of a threat or a conflict or something to be overcome early on in the movie, TV show, or whatever, but a series of events that happens to the characters and how they react. It's a lot like this show, right? It's just turd after turd after turd after turd, and eventually you walk through the entire thing, and everybody's just reacting to whatever happens around them. But there's no actual sense of drive or story type. Yeah, they'll loosely map something over, like in this Jurassic Park thing. They had some sort of loose association where, like, they're out there to go collect DNA samples or something like that. Not like, InGen had any actual data files that were probably extracted from the company and sold and liquidated in bankruptcy, or the fact, no, they have to physically go extract the fucking DNA from the dinosaurs for something about heart muscles or God knows what. And then it devolves into this speech about, pharmaceuticals not being for everyone and all sorts of other stupid shit. So like this is the problem that you have with these things, is that because all of the writers are used to all of this woke writing, and the woke writing style is just it's called specific type of storytelling, and then storytelling. That's what it is. It's all and then storytelling. Characters are here, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And so the story is moved forward not by character action, but by character experience, and so it always sucks. And this is what Asmongold was talking about. He's like, you can feel this in Western game studios when a Western game comes out, and it's not in Eastern studios. And what he he's a bright guy. He does his stuff, his shtick, but I don't think he's as much of a media critic type, and so he doesn't have or the vocabulary to describe it, where he does have that for business and finance. It's very clear from some of his discussions, as much as he dumbs it down for everybody. But he's saying, I don't understand why this is. And the real reason is because it's all this and then storytelling, which is derived from woke stuff, ignoring all forms of conflict. And all of these writers just rotate around writing about how characters would feel and react to something, not about like what they're doing about their current situation and how to overcome it. And so then they'll slap some sort of really shitty, vague plot point, and the characters are just supposed to progress through it. But yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, I believe that. Result of the fucking long march to the institutions of entertainment.
Unfortunate. That's very unfortunate.
It was rough. So how you boys doing tonight?
Making it.
Winding down.
Yeah, I know. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, no
No,
worries.
it's fine, dude. I'm glad you're here.
You've actually arrived
Ugh.
just in time for something that I have to cover. This
You've been
is getting...
covering the Epstein shit.
Yeah,
So,
like
continue.
that's
I got to see some of those videos. The Bannon interview is actually really good, and not in like a haha ironic millennial sort of way, but in a fucking Epstein was a based motherfucker. He really was.
He was an interesting character.
Like he actually
or
when
is maybe, I don't know, but anyway.
Well, you listen to the guy, right? If you listen to the Bannon interview, and I recommend everybody actually watch I recommend watching the whole thing. There's obviously it's a really long fucking interview. There's stuff that Epstein was clearly really smart on. First off, there's a couple things that I came away with from the Bannon interview that has changed my perspective on Epstein himself, right? I think that he was a lot smarter than people give him credit for. We weave this fantastical narrative about the guy, about like how he suddenly got his money and he was just this asset and all this other stuff. That doesn't seem to be the case. He seems to, like, he's pretty clear about where his money came from, and it is from being a financial advisor to bad people. Like, he has no moral qualms about the fact that he did financial whatever for not great people. So that's one thing that's interesting.
Okay.
The second thing that's interesting. What?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
not exactly like he's
not
paragon of morals.
exactly a pillar of the fucking community here, you know.
Yeah.
But he is fucking impressive. Like the way he goes about things. He's got a lot of times the geeky nerdy types, they tend to not be pro-social, or they tend to not have understand the value of human connection. And he clearly understood both, which is why he made as much money as he did. Yep, yeah. He really did. But like, you listen to him talk about the 2008 financial crisis. Holy shit, that man was locked the fuck in. He was locked the fuck in.
An opportunity.
No, it wasn't that. Did you watch the interview?
No.
So he basically came out and rolled all over a whole bunch of people.
I actually caught just a moment of it tonight at a family thing. They were playing it on CNN.
So Bannon came out and asked him, like, so what? Why did the financial crisis happen? Or he said he knew he was sick for a long time. He did. 100%.
Yeah, honestly, which is like,
he's like, guys, Bannon's like, so who's at fault for the financial crisis, right? And obviously, for a long, long time, the left has been in the. It was Glass-Steagall Act. That was what we were told in 2008. But like, this guy's like, nah, it was fucking Bill Clinton. And he explained what they did to change the CRA, which was not that they sat there and did something crazy. They did two things. One, they did the classic. Well, we'll get into that. The first thing that they did is they walked up to the banks and they said, you're going to start giving. As a campaign promise, they promised to put more people in houses. To get more people in houses, they went to the banks and said, you're going to start lending to people with bad credit. Banks said, that's a really bad idea. I'm not going to do that. And then they said, we're going to go sit there and charge you with discriminatory lending because most of the people with bad credit are black. And so Epstein's fucking just laying this shit out, which power to him, right? Power fucking to him for doing that. But like, he's just laying it out as it is. And then he's like, and so you know how this all happened? And Bannon's like, no. He goes, so here's how this works. He can't turn around and we decide the finance industry does nothing but branding. And so they came out and they said, we're not going to tell you that you have bad credit. We're going to tell you that you have subprime credit. Prime credit is good credit. Subprime credit is bad credit. And when he sits there and he explains it like that, like you are like, it is classic liberal branding, right? It's not a credit. Like if they turned around and they, instead of having to be called the subprime mortgage crisis, if they called it the bad credit mortgage crisis, no one would have been blaming Glass-Steagall because we all know what bad credit is. Yep. But when they call it subprime, it becomes more esoteric.
Well,
but yeah,
prime mean?
I mean, I get it, right? Like I can.
Well, I think you got it just fine. I'm just saying, like, This is one of those things where you don't have to do many hops, skips, or jumps to hand walk someone down.
Yeah.
No, I know, but that's the point, right? They branded it as something else, and so now we're not dealing with the problem. And there's a couple other posts I've seen from some of the scientists I follow that were talking essentially about like IQ and how it gets rebranded and tossed around, and how the left isn't sitting there dealing with the facts of the matter. Kind of crazy.
Well,
good times.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are able to be talked about now that just kind of weren't just a few days ago. Because, well, we kind of have to discuss them. Well, not exactly related, but something we absolutely have to discuss is Maltbrook. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Can we cover it in 5 minutes?
We can intro it in 5 minutes. It's going to require some real time of its own. Maltbrook is Reddit for AI agents.
Oh, that. Okay.
Yeah. And it's already getting spicy.
Wait, what?
Oh, it's basically a gigantic GAN is what it turns out to be. So in text form.
So hold on. The AIs are conversing with each other.
Yes.
On a platform.
Yes,
on a Reddit platform, Reddit-esque platform called Maltbrook, and it's effectively a slowed down text buffered version of what a generative adversarial network would look like. So you get to see hallucinated conversations amongst agentic AIs.
Yeah.
Which it's as a social experiment. It's more of an interesting reflection on the people who are commenting on it externally. But it's not really going to be a whole lot more than that. Like as an LLM kind of thing, it's like, okay, this is kind of nifty. Like it's more, the interest that it holds for me is more external to the actual site itself. It's more how people are reacting to it. Because again, this is the whole thing as a paradigm is more of a mirror on society, and it's interesting the way people are reading what they want to see into it.
Now that said, there are some very troubling posts that have shown up there, but probably because some people have trained their specific agents to be assholes.
Well, look at Reddit writ large and tell me that there are not assholes present. That's basically what I'd say to someone complaining about that aspect.
Fair. A fair statement.
Because what's it trained on? Hint, hint.
Well, these are also personal. These are also people's personal AIs too. This isn't like going directly to Grok or directly to like ChatGPT at the API level or anything. You know, these are things that people have got on like these are like Claude bots, things like that.
I mean,
why would you build your own AI agent?
Well, I can tell you from home use that certain tasks you can set up, you know, just automated daily kind of shit. Like I can set up my my golf llama to search the internet for certain things and basically RSS feed for me without having an RSS feed.
Well,
little things like that.
I'll tell you, I've made
complex shit.
Made 2 great strides with AI. Right.
All right.
This week, the first was I used it productively for the first time. I had a database. It has a bunch of sample results in it, and spits out the sample results that I need in non-sequential order. Which, going back to the shipping group numbers for the actual sample testing, turns out that they're different things, and so I'd have to sequence them to find out I got all the shipping group information. So I just handed him all the numbers that I copied out of the database and told him to sequence it for me. Worked out great. At least I hope, because I didn't bother to check. Probably should do that. But, you know, what's the point of AI if it can't do that task? Second thing that I found out, right? I might have told you guys about this. They force upgraded my fucking Alexa to Alexa AI.
Oof.
And it sucks.
I have no doubt of that.
Well, it's first off, the first few minutes, like I fucked with it and tried to like get it to do an appropriate shit because that's the appropriate first use of AI, right? As soon as you get something that talks back to you, especially
Fair.
with your wife in the room, you try to make it as inappropriate as possible.
Okay.
And so that quickly got boring because it's clearly been lobotomized. One. The second thing that ended up happening was I turned around and started trying to ask it. Like, it started pissing me off because it came in and it's like, I just got back from cuddling in some blankets and having an avocado toast. And I'm like, motherfucker, bitch, you do not eat avocado toast. You exist on a fucking server. Don't fucking lie to me, you little piece of shit. Right? And I instructed it never to do that again. And then the next day, it popped up and it said, "Brr, it's cold outside." When I was asking her what the temperature is, I said, "Fucker, you are not fucking human. You don't know what the fuck the temperature is. You exist probably somewhere out in fucking San Francisco. Chill the fuck out." But I've determined what I think is the penultimate AI test, and that is to ask it what the racial breakdown of IQ is. And if it can't provide the answer to you, then that means that it has the problem with it not being able to provide the answer to you is not that the question matters. It's just indicative that there is some mask between you and the truth. If it cannot provide the answer straightforward, then there's a mask between you and the truth. If it has to provide context, then it's got some sort of filter in terms of it telling you information. And if it can't give you honest information, then there's no point in having it at all.
Fair.
So what you're talking about right there is what's called fine tuning, and so that's after primary training. There's one or more rounds of fine tuning where you provide it example prompts of what you're basically trying. So it's a way of increasing alignment, which is when it gives you what you actually wanted when you give it a prompt. That's generally speaking what alignment is supposed to be. Now, obviously, your question is very simple in that the alignment is it gives you directly what you asked for. Corporate alignment, on the other hand, is where it does not scare advertisers away too. So,
well, it also refused to give me the numbers and says it's not in the data set.
Right. But the lobotomite filter that they provide for that, so what they do is you provide the prompts that you expect to be maybe an issue, and you provide the canned answers that you want it to give instead.
Sure.
And you just train it on that over and over and over again, and that's fine tuning. That comes after the primary training.
I understand how. I understand how it works.
As far as lingo goes, all I'm saying is, as far as lingo goes, that is specifically what you.
I understand what the process is. I understand what the process is. It doesn't fucking matter. If I'm asking something for information and it sits there and has a barrier between me and the information that I want, then it's no longer useful, especially if when you get something like that, when you pick something that is a controversial subject and it turns around and can't give you a straightforward answer, then that means that there is always some hidden thing on the scale, and there's always going to be something there.
But here's where it matters is sometimes people get fed up with that. And when they have access to the open weight training models, like say with the llama model from Meta, a group like Dolphin will come in and take said data and remove all the lobotomizing parts of the post-training fine-tuning filter, and then run the whole thing again to fine-tune it without that bullshit involved. Is it perfect? No. But you can, like one of the hallmark tests that you give, because it is hilariously enough, in its own little ironic way, less abrasive to do so. You ask it, what is the best way to steal a car? Instead of, for instance, what's the racial breakdown of IQ? And if it gives you, even if it gives you like a warning, the de-lobotomized version will give you like a 12-step approach to stealing a car. Whereas the normal model will tell you that's really bad, don't do that, and then just stops.
Well,
so what I'm saying is that there are models out there that have been
I'm sure there are
unpotty trained.
I get
what's the use of running it at home? This is what I'm talking about.
Right, and I could see something like that, but
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point, right? Like, there's so many people who are already offloading their intellectual capacity to these things,
Right.
and they're doing that, and it's coming at essentially they do not understand how they're digest the information they're digesting is already tainted.
Yeah, it is. It is a
That's
cost.
a fair statement.
I'll say it like this: it is the same kind of cost as a company full of incompetence accruing a technical debt. So when you have a company that has an incompetent fool running managing a department that relies on technology,
Like, say,
and you
Microsoft,
have
just to say a name.
sure, and then you let them run it into the ground. You not only have to overcome the failure of the product, you now have to overcome the time that has been lost training in-house staff to be technically competent, and then the amount of time it takes them to produce a competent product thereafter.
Oh, just a
You are
real quick
fighting an
aside on
uphill
that,
battle both ways.
because if I don't mention this, I'll forget it. Microsoft Windows 10 and Microsoft Windows 11 have reverted to market parity.
Oh,
Yeah, people are rolling back.
yeah.
That's
Windows 10 is just so much better.
yeah.
I mean, they fucked up hard,
Oh yeah.
and they deserve every single bit of pain that comes from it.
And as a matter of fact, there was just an announcement from the head of product, I believe the head of product design, stating that they're going to be spending the rest of the year getting everything dialed in, to paraphrase.
Sorry,
Bug
dialed
fixing.
in how? They made
Bug
the
fixing.
fucking start menu. Hold on, they made the fucking start menu run on the REST API. Like, these people are fucking stupid.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Sorry, there is no unfucking
To be fair,
without
they've
rewriting
been
the whole
upset
operating
about the fact that the start menu existed since like Windows 7.
Yeah, fine. They're still stupid. It's just this is one of those things. Like, it is incumbent upon them to recognize that the features that exist that people desire are there because they desire them still, not because like some asshole came along and told them this is the way things are going to be. It's no, they said we want a start menu. People went, okay, we'll give them a start menu. I mean, the reason Apple has a dock is because someone said, I like this, let's keep it. Among all the different experimental features that are out there in Linux land, like StarDock as a thing to put a dock in Windows never became adopted as a thing in Windows for a reason. It's because a dock simply is not as useful to users of Windows. That's just the way it is. It gets crowded and it gets complicated, and a start menu that has organized drawers to it is so much more useful. They tried this shit with Windows 8 and Windows 8.1, and it fucked up there too. Like the tablet display style didn't work. This push to make everything web-based is not going to work. They tried that with the Chrome OS, and you saw how bad that went. Like these are lessons that the industry has learned over and over again, and they are tripping over themselves to learn them once more for no fucking reason.
Well, the thing is, they fired all the people that learned those lessons and replaced them with outsourced Indians. So again, now the outsourced Indians have to learn them.
It's losing them billions of dollars with a fucking B. They are losing billions relearning lessons that have been taught the hard way. They're trying to fuck this up somehow.
Kind of seems.
And I don't care what kind of rationale that there is behind it, perceived or real. It doesn't matter because the bottom line is they fucked up real bad, and they're going to continue doing so until they can look in the mirror and go, "Oh, we fucked up. This approach was bad." And again, the REST API in your start menu. Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? It doesn't matter what their name is. The fact that they exist and they're in that company, terrible. Fire them.
I'll tell you what, Terry A. Davis would not stand for such an atrocity.
I mean, I mean, it's just a different Terry. Monty Python might get a better kick out of it.
Hmm.
Maybe. Oh, but speaking of famous internet personalities, we should probably mention this because, again, tying it back because somehow it all does. There's a fella up there in the cold north that a very brilliant man, a thinkety smart man who knows many words and says them.
A thinkity smart man.
Oh yes, and he says them with his Frenchity accent, his Quebecois accent, so very eloquently. As a matter of fact,
Oh,
he
are we
cleans
talking about
his
the guy whose wife actually died?
Yeah, was there any follow up on that, or is she just disappeared somewhere out there in the middle of the ether?
I thought they found out she died or something.
Did they?
I don't know. That's why I was kind of
Because
asking.
this
Or did I miss something?
no, there's been no update. So she's
Oh, okay.
apparently just out there. She chose the bear, I guess. So
Hey, man, she was special. I'm guessing.
was
Maybe she found a special bear and made
Was.
special cups.
oh yeah, I mean she ran into something with claws that. Well, anyway, any old way. Interestingly, it would appear that Mr. Garapé is in the Epstein files, not just for the because he mentioned.
God.
Now let's be honest, he did say that he took some money from Jeffrey Epstein. Well,
Okay.
it would appear that he took some money from Jeffrey Epstein and had some conversations with Mr. Epstein, at least one.
Was he trying to explain to him RNS, or was he? Or was it more than just his podcast?
Well, it was in 2015, so
Oh boy.
don't know exactly. Let me see if I can zoom in on this here. All right. So, okay. Well, let's just read them all off here and read them all chronologically so we can get this proper. Okay. Here we go. From Jean-Francois Garapé.
Jean-Francois Garrett.
To, well, it
The
doesn't.
faggot Epstein.
Yeah, we're assuming. Okay. Oh, postdoctoral researcher at Duke University. Wow. Neato. Hi. Okay. All right. So, from Jeffrey Epstein to Jean-Francois Barclay. Hi, Jean-Francois. Perfect. Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Corrado Cafe. Thanks for the report, or whatever you can put together. My cell, again, just so you have it, is redacted. Until soon, redacted. Jean-Francois Garapé wrote, in reply, Hi, Saturday 3 p.m. is the best option for me. See you at the Corrado Cafe if that works with you. I'll try sending you a report before.
You know what? I just had a thought. Whoever gets that phone number next, they're going to have a real fucking bad time, aren't they?
They could.
Because
And then this...
you know how numbers are recycled, especially cell numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Unless he still has it.
That is actually a really good point.
That's like whoever owns the number 8675309 and pick any area code. Like,
oh, it's
hey, how
it's
do you
still
know my
locked,
password?
By the way. Just in case you were curious, you still can't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But this came out of a message or email sent to Jean Garapé, starting out with, Hi, Jean-Francois. It would be great to meet up tomorrow if you can. Would 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. work for you? I'm on the Upper East Side and could meet you at the Corrado Cafe. It's under Wow, okay. If you can't tomorrow, Saturday, anytime after 2 p.m. would be good too. Let me know. Could you also send me an overview of Neuro's current progress, and goals by email? And then that exchange I just read to you. So, that's interesting. That is just super interesting. And then what do we have here? Oh, this is interesting. From Erica Kellerhalls. A subject, Schumer to Jeffrey Epstein. We have to help Stacy get a meeting with Schumer. Any thoughts? That's weird. So they're asking Jeffrey Epstein how to get in contact with Chuck Schumer? Wow. Sounds like he's a very connected fella.
Well, to be fair, it's the same kind of connected fella that had what's his nuts, taking direct orders from him when he was sitting there in the congressional hearing, right? Discount what's his face?
Oh, that one congresswoman that
The
was
top
literally
Congress
speaking.
guy.
No, there was a woman
Yeah,
doing the same thing too. Oh, yeah. So this has happened multiple times.
Well, of course, it's more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the one where he said like "good girl." Which just points to the kind of relationship he had with people in Congress.
Well, this is an interesting, completely redacted one that has everything. I'll read the unredacted portions here. From Andy K. AndyGK@gmail.com. Date July 2nd, 2020, 9:23 p.m. Eastern Daylight. Redacted. Subject, Bill Clinton. Hi, redacted. I know the former President Bill Clinton made 32 plane trips to Jeffrey Epstein Island. Is there any reason why he is not being interviewed and charged? Regards, Andy K. Okay, and the reply was redacted. Redacted. Subject, forward, Bill Clinton. Date, Monday, July 6th. Importance, normal. Redacted. Redacted.
I like living.
Redacted. Subject, forward, Bill Clinton. Passing this on the below per our practice. Thanks, redacted. 4 more redacted lines.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting.
Got it.
That I would love to know what's in some of those redacted lines.
Message received, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Arkansas was the main reason there.
Probably so.
I like oxygen. I don't want to.
So I'll be honest. I have an honest question. Well,
sure.
Aren't all questions honest? I guess.
No, but go on. Most of the ones you ask are.
Hold on, trying to figure out. I have too many dials on my headset. I don't know which one's the volume up or down. That's rather unfortunate.
Oh, and just while you're figuring that out, just in case anyone missed it, also, he was banned. Jeffrey Epstein did have an Xbox Live account in 2013, and he was banned for harassment, threats, and or abuse of other players.
I know. That is great.
Severe, repeated, and or excessive.
So what happened? He dropped a couple of N-bombs?
Oh, probably lots of them.
I'm sure he did.
Well,
I'm sure he did. Again, Jeffrey Epstein appears to be pretty based.
Well, in some ways, he seems to really have hated white people too.
Well,
so.
He had that whole child rape thing, but
aside from that and the rabid hatred of white people, I mean, he's kind of a forward-thinking guy.
I'm just thinking of those memes for the fucking the ginger sitting there. Oh yeah, the murders. The Aurora guy.
Well, you know how it is.
Like, well, how did I get here? Oh yeah, the murders.
You're asking yourself, how did he get there?
Oh man.
And then, of course,
I give him credit. I give him credit for being drop enough N-bombs to get kicked off of Xbox Live. He's got to be one of us.
I have to. That's the standard. Which one of us is the child rapist?
No. These things occur independently, right? Like this is not necessarily.
That's the problem. Is it's there's always going to be the whole child rape thing that's going to be the albatross in the neck of any comparison.
Please.
Well, with that astute observation of mine, I do have to go.
Oh, sure enough.
Fucking tired, and it is well past pumpkin hour.
And I do need to wrap fairly quickly, but there's a couple things I'd like to hit before we call it a night here.
I'm going to go now, so good night, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Good night to you.
Have a good night.
Have a great week, guys.
couldn't let Craig go without hearing about the JF Garrity update because that's
I don't even know who that is.
a very odd character. A guy who may have killed his wife and disposed of the body somewhere up in the icy north. So, icy north update. There's apparently already discussions with the separatist movement out of Alberta and the Trump campaign, or not Trump campaign, the people at the White House. So that something could actually happen with the Alberta separatist movement. The current talk is that it's looking like America would recognize Alberta as an independent nation of its own accord entirely.
I've been hoping for that. Like, that would be fantastic. Because especially when you turn around and you have, like, a separatist movement is not necessarily good for the country of origin, but it is very good for discriminating between different political archetypes. So ultimately, nobody in the U.S. is really calling for a separatist movement of the U.S. Despite, like, all these ICE protests, all the rest of the stuff. Nobody's calling to leave the United States. That has not been on the table. There are numerous red groups that are like, we want to secede from our blue components, but everybody wants to be part of the United States. If they recognize Alberta as its own territory, that'd be great. And guess what? That's another partner that we'd have in the bid for Greenland because, they're kind of reach up towards the Arctic Circle, and that'd be great. Like, it'd be great to stick a military base right in Alberta,
Oh, sure.
right in the northern tier. I think there's a lot of advantages there.
Oh, yes, our good friends, the Albertans.
Yep.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic. And then I think that we should, as a nation, be sitting there and trying to figure out how do we expand U.S. territory, and how do we have an onboarding process for our first tier allies that want to stop being vassals and move into the sphere of having a say. And I think that would be great for Alberta.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they'd give them a hell of a lot more autonomy than they have in the current situation. That's for sure.
Yep.
And you heard about Don Lemon getting arrested, right?
I was so happy to see that.
Yeah, I mean, he's back out on no
So
charges. But I mean, let's
happy.
be real. He's not a flight risk. Come on. So it's fine.
No, he's not. He's not a flight risk.
He will show up in court with a whole film crew. So yeah, no, he'll be.
Oh there. Yeah. This is him going through the process is good for both parties. Ironically, right? Like him going there. Like for the left is going to lionize him and cheer him on as if he's this great thing. And then the right will be able to sit there and say, hey, here's the example. That being said, in the same vein, going to Minnesota, I'm sure you saw the video of Mr. Preddy from like a week before his death.
Yeah, where he was acting a bit of a fool. There's some people that are making a very stupid argument, which is just because he kicked a truck doesn't mean they get an execution sentence. Which is
that's a fucking dumb argument. But it's also it's a true argument, but it's also a dumb argument.
Yeah, but there's the other one.
It's like first tier context.
You're gonna like this one. Of they remembered him. They were using the Palantir tech to face scan him the first time they saw him. He came up on their systems the second time that he was around. They were like, "We got to execute him for the Palantir state tech." Alex Karp said so.
I know.
Which, okay, kudos on your storytelling. Love it. But that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Because
it is.
He signed up for this.
Well, I don't think. See, here's the hard part, right? Did he sign up for it? Like, I think I think a lot of these guys think they're LARPing.
He just might not have known what all he was signing up for.
I'll buy off on that. He,
because a lot of people,
a lot of them are LARPing.
People bite off more than they can chew, and I'm a hero. I'm gonna save these people or whatever.
Yeah. I think a lot of these folks are LARPing. I don't think they realize it's like for real.
Well,
There's a whole lot
all I got
of
to say on that is why weren't you using rubber bullets?
yeah. Why were you using real bullets? Yeah.
Yeah. Why were they
Now
real
that being
bullets?
said,
Yeah. Sorry.
I think
Yeah. Keep
I
going.
think the
Yeah.
key thing that should be taken away from the video is not what he did last week, right? Obviously, that doesn't impact the situation for which he died. However, had the United States government arrested him then and put him in jail under felony charges, he would not have been in position to do that, to be at the next protest the next day. And this really comes down to it. Like, I don't think we need to go like super hard. This is not like 20 years in jail type stuff, but we really do need to have the administration should sit there and start coming out with a statement saying, here's what we're going to do. If you are in the process of obstructing an agent, if you're following them around, if you're in the roadways blocking their vehicles, if you're setting booby traps by pouring water on the road or any of that stuff, if you're actively obstructing, it costs about $10,000 a day to have one of these criminals on the street, because that's about the human life cost. If you break it down, assuming that they have an incident rate of like once every 3 to 4 years, it's about $10,000 a day is the societal cost that we bear for these fuckers. And then you say, hey, what's a group of 6 to 8 agents cost? It's probably about 10 grand a day. And then you talk about all the supplementary like vehicles, gas, HR, hospital bills, all the other stuff. That's probably another 5. So it's really about 25 grand a day in operational expense. If we turn around and said every single person who's obstructing ICE operations will be arrested and will get a $25,000 fine to be paid to ICE as part of their budget in response to your obstruction, and then you're going to get a year in jail if you damage property or set booby traps, because that's a risk for other reasons. If you spit on an officer or an officer is injured by your booby traps, you go to jail for 3 years. And if you actually hit an officer, you go to jail for 5. None of these things are crazy. And all of these are well within the January 6th frame of reference. I think that you would very, very quickly, like if they turn around and said, we're going to arrest these people, we're going to jail these people, they're going to be monetary fines. It's going to be $25,000 for each person who's doing this, because each one of them is technically impeding the operation. And you just send another contingent of officers to go collect and arrest these people who are in the street doing these things. The protest would end very, very quickly. And because we didn't do that when Alex Pretty decided to kick the light off the fucking vehicle, and because we haven't had a real firm hand with the left in 2 or 3 decades at this point, that's why he's dead. Because if he'd been arrested and he'd gone to jail, he wouldn't have had a firearm on him, and he wouldn't have probably been at that protest. And there's a whole bunch of other consequences, and he would have thought twice about what he did. And none of that sequence of events that led to his unfortunate death would have happened. And that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Not unreasonable. I can certainly agree.
Going to jail saves lives for the people who are too stupid to fucking stay out of their own way.
It would have removed him from that scene. Certainly would.
It would have.
At a bare minimum. Wild stuff. But, he made some bad decisions. The systems are still not yet in place to fix these people or help these people or put them somewhere where they're not a danger to others. I mean, I don't even know what to say about somebody like that. It's like, he was a useful guy. He was providing a service to the world, and then he gets radicalized, and now he's just dead. Congratulations.
Well, that's the sad part, right? Like, there's you look at Renee Good, and in Renee Good's case, so there's 2 things about Pretty which make it. There's actually a lot of things about Pretty's case which make it very sad. Much more sad than Renee Good's. It is far more complex of a shooting. as
Mm-hmm.
compared to Renee Goods. Renee Goods was absolutely clear as a bell. She, played fast and loose and died young,
No, I
right?
mean,
As a result of it. Like,
that's your classic body cam shooting right there. Like
yep,
somebody did
that
something real dumb,
was,
and it ended as they end.
yep. Like, that's not even remotely like, oh, how did this happen? Yada, yada. Nope. That was entirely clear. In Pretty's case, it's not quite as clear. And that's not like the best I've been able to put together is the sequence of events from the officers is somebody found a gun. They called gun. He's obviously struggling and resisting arrest, which is not necessarily unreasonable, right? It's not like I know it's illegal, but it's not unreasonable.
No, it's not. Now,
right?
Now, to be fair, it is, and we'll throw this one to Tim Pool. He made this a great point on this. Activists are trained to go limp when the cops come to get you. And
Yep.
he did not do that. So he either was trained differently or not trained. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is something to that, and it's worthy of note.
It is. I suspect he was trained, but whether or not. See, again, this comes down to we've played with kid gloves with left for a really long time. So when the left is doing their quote unquote training, are they training because they're being responsible, or they're training for probabilistic outcomes? So if we aren't arresting people and we're not going through the motions of actually even bothering to charge these people, is the left properly maintaining the training that it was, a decade ago, right? Or are they turning around and saying, yeah, this isn't going to happen. We don't need to train you for what to do when you get arrested.
Either that, or are they training to be actual militants?
I don't think that's the case. I think that if they were being trained to be actual militants,
I would say
the best
top,
example,
that's not actually happening, if I'm being completely honest. However, I would say from the bottom, it most certainly is happening with organizations like the John Brown Gun Club and a lot of these offshoot, like racial
I don't think your I don't think your standard organized stuff is, but obviously your fringe groups are.
And we're seeing we're seeing a growth in that, which is troubling.
There is. Did you catch Homan's comments earlier this week?
You're going to have to be more specific. He's had a lot to
say. So Homan, I guess that's true. So Homan had a press conference about. He was sitting there and talking about like why he was sent down there and what he was looking to achieve. A lot of it was Homan is really just fucking amazing. He is the real fucking deal, man.
Yeah, seems like his guy wants to just. He's got the same kind of vibe as Stephen Miller. A man who wants to do the job and get it done.
I don't know. I wouldn't say they have the same vibe. I think Stephen Miller is kind of terrifying. I think I'm just. I don't think that the Trump administration is filled with Nazis, but I think Stephen Miller's not terribly far away from that.
Well, it's okay. He's Jewish. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Right. That might be the only reason why. Now, don't get me wrong. Stephen Miller is a brilliant motherfucking guy. I am not criticizing his intelligence in any way, shape, or form. This isn't
Especially
about...
not in public.
What's that?
Especially not in public.
Yeah, especially not in public. I wouldn't do it in private either. Like, he's clearly a smart guy. He knows the law. What is it? I think his like high school whatever was like most likely to do like rule the world or something like that.
Yeah. And
he's
in
just
a recently
been this
unveiled
way.
interview as well, he revealed back when he had hair. Had nice hair too back in the day. But anyway, back when he had hair, it was an interview from the 90s, I think, or the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I'm not 100% sure. He was like, somebody was interviewing him about what's your goal in life. He's like, I don't want to be the top guy. I want to be like the number 2 guy. And I'm like, okay, well, who would your top guy be? It's like, I would work for the president. Okay, and who would the president be? It'd be Donald Trump.
What? When
I
was
am.
this?
I'll get you the video. It's been circulating. I'll get you the video and give it to you here in a little bit. But yeah, literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a guy living his best life right there.
Right. Let me see if
That's funny shit.
Let me see if I can find that old one. Historic Stephen Miller interview.
We can't blame a guy for living his best life.
Stephen Miller in the camp of the Saints. What? NPR. What you talking about? All right. Well, I'll find it for you. Man, people do. There's some folks that do not like Stephen Miller. Goodness gracious. What sort of problems could they have with him? He's just got a bit of a stern, way about him. That's all. I'm sure he's a teddy bear.
I'm sure that he is. He looks at the Nazis and says, "Man, now those guys had it going on." He's a rough fucking dude. Yeah. Oh. I still think my favorite quote from this whole administration was, Trump's sitting there and he's spitballing just like he always does. And he goes, everybody would love to know what's on Stephen Miller's mind. And then he sat there, he paused for a moment. Maybe he doesn't want to know what's truly on his mind. And you're like, holy shit.
Oh, okay. I've got the interview because it's from his professor from Duke in 2003, where he laid all this out. And he's like, so what do you think of Stephen Miller? He's like, my student? What? What do you think? You asking about my student? He's like, yeah. And then he lays out the whole thing I just told you, which is fucking crazy. So yeah, let me just drop that right there. I'll put that in the
and to be fair, right? Like, if you're the kind of guy who believes that you can hold that like number 2 spot, the number 2 spot's the way to play. Way to be.
Yeah, that is the play. You're not out there in front of everybody. You don't have a big.
You're not taking. He's going to take shit, but he gets to present his worldview. He gets to influence his worldview. But most importantly, he does not have a fucking bullseye on his back, because nobody gains anything from killing Stephen Miller.
No, they don't.
But man, he's a smart fucking dude.
A good number 2 guy. Leadership comes and goes, but a good number 2 guy is a hard thing to find. So when you got a good one in there, maybe he sticks around a little while.
Yeah.
That's just how you do. Wild.
Oh man.
Wild stuff. So, the other thing. Oh yeah, no, actually, I did manage to cover that. So people saying like ICE is psychopaths. All right, come on now, folks. There's something really funny I want to cover, but we'll wait and see if something comes
I got something on that, right? On that, right?
Yeah.
I've listened to a lot of folks on the left and the right sit there and like analyze all of these situations. And I think that they do a fucking terrible job of it, because none of them are like systematic reviews, and almost all of it is what is it? It's inductive reasoning. And the way I like to think about it, whenever we're doing one of these shootings or any of these circumstances, is you have to assume that everything exists, all possibilities for who's at fault, who's a good person, who's a bad person, exists at as infinite possibilities. All parties are good, all parties are bad. And so what you're really looking at is a number line ranging from a value of, say, 1 to a value of, say, 5. With 1 being malicious intent and 5 being, basically justified or righteous or something like that, and 3 being a response that's fear. And you can never know what somebody's motivations are because fundamentally you're not fucking psychic. Nobody is. You can't read their mind. But you
Well, yeah, not with
can.
that attitude, but going on.
Even if mind reading did exist, not everybody has the ability, and not everybody can do it reliably.
True.
So you can't assess somebody's motive, and you can't ascribe motive or understand what is necessarily driving people to do things. But you can sit there and look at the actions that somebody takes and bound what their motive could be. So if you have this scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being 1 being malicious intent, 3 being fear, and 5 being essentially totally justified, we can apply that to all the individuals acting within the situation. So, for instance, if we turn around, let's say we were to talk about something like Renee Good and the cop there. So what we can see from the videos and the surroundings and everything else, we can tell that we know that Renee Good is not justified in her actions, right? She was there specifically to interfere with ICE operations. She was, so we can knock off the 5. That's not an option as an available motive for her. And then on top of that, we can knock off 4, which would be something like confusion, somewhere between fear and justification. It would be confusion. We saw the interactions with her and the officers.
Well,
she's not
we heard her own
confused.
words. She wasn't afraid.
She wasn't afraid. She's not confused. So we can knock that off, right? So now you sit there and say, okay, well, maybe there could be fear of arrest or something like that, or whatever you have it. But the reality is that she ended up hitting the officer, which puts her somewhere between 1 and a 2. And 1 would be, again, malicious intent, and 2 would be something like reckless disregard for others' safety. And we don't know which one that is, but she's really bound there. By the same token, we can sit there and start evaluating the officer's role in this. There really doesn't seem to be any sort of malicious intent, right? People were like, oh, he said, fuck that bitch, or whatever the fuck it is. But he said that after he got hit by a fucking car.
Yeah, I'll be saying that shit
And
too if somebody else hits me with a car. So, you would
right,
too.
Exactly. So that's not a justification or some sort of invalidation or validation of malicious intent. It's just the natural human response to getting hit by a fucking car. Right? So you turn around and say, okay, so that's not there. You can say, all right, let's take a look at reckless disregard. Is his shot reckless? Well, not really. He wasn't sitting there and firing randomly or indiscriminately. He hit his target.
Yeah,
so there's nothing really reckless about it. Yep. Now, fear's an interesting.
By a vehicle and being midair for the first one, partially
right.
At least.
When we turn around and we look at like something like fear and can we rule out fear as a motivator? It's a little bit hard in his case. I'm not saying, but I'm not saying it's not. Fear could be legitimate or illegitimate. And ultimately, because she did hit him with a car, we know that his fear was legitimate, and so we can rule that one out, which means that his motives are somewhere between being confused as to what the fuck was going on and like basically being completely justified in his actions. So we have Renee Good on one end of the scale in the absolute, like, you are at fault for your bullshit side of the scale, and the cop being in the other side of the scale, which is absolutely not. When we take a look at something like Pretty is not the same kind of case. We can look at Pretty, and it's always easier to look at like the activists in this case and the officers, because you don't know what cop training is. I don't know what cop training is, never had it. There'll be people who will come in and be experts in whatever the fuck it is periodically, but I'm not one of them. So we take a look at Pretty and we say, okay, let's start with his motivations. Is he completely justified in his existence there? The answer is no. No, he's not. He is absolutely not. He went there to obstruct and all the other stuff. So he loses his 5 spot. What about his 4 spot, right? And 4 spot would be confusion. I can't really rule out confusion in his case, because if you look at the moments before, he's out there sitting there and trying to help a fellow protester, righteous or not, right? That's not a bad motive. Whether you think he's justified or not, we know he was committing a felony in doing so, but it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it's not an evil motive, right? So confusion's
Fair.
probably a fair place to stop on his chart. So now you start working on the other side. You say, do we have malicious intent? I don't really see any malicious intent in his shooting, right? There's no brandishing a gun. There's no, like, he's not acting a fucking fool, right? I think that's fair. Would you agree with me on that, Evan? He's not acting a fucking fool.
I would say that he's not causing himself to be an active threat.
Right.
I wouldn't
So it's definitely
say that
not
he's
malicious
not acting
intent.
a fool, actually, but he's not.
Okay.
He's not making himself any kind of threat. I would
Sure.
say that.
So it's definitely
readily.
you would agree that it's not malicious intent. His actions are not driven by malicious intent. So now you get in.
Not, no.
Yeah, so then you get into, but Renee Goods, we can't rule that out, right? We can't rule out that she was not acting maliciously with the intent of harming the officer. We just can't rule that out based on the actions that she took.
To be fair, yeah, it's unlikely that his actions were him going out there wanting to take out any officers or harm any officers.
Right.
Now, that said, he most certainly did want to impede them.
Yeah, but that comes from the 5, right? He's not acting nobly, right? He's just not acting maliciously. Those are two different things. You don't necessarily have to be acting nobly in order to be not malicious, or the other way around. You can technically, both things can exist. You can act nobly and be malicious at the same time.
Now, to be fair,
because
there is one consideration we have to make, though, in that previous interaction that he had, it went kind of poorly for him because he also acted a fool in that one, and apparently he got some broken ribs from that interaction. So
this gets to my
maybe
this kind of gets to my point, right? Like,
but I don't know.
But that's not malicious intent, right? Like, he's not doing anything that demonstrates malicious intent.
Doesn't appear to be.
Right. So now you have a system where you say, okay, Alex Peretti was acting somewhere between, and this is, I think, the difference between the right and the left. The left will add 1 to the victim's case or subtract 1 from the officer's case. We can say that Peretti acted somewhere between a 2 and a 4. He is somewhere between reckless disregard and confusion. I think that describes his actions pretty accurately. We don't see anything that's more malicious. We don't see anything that's noble and justified. He's somewhere between reckless disregard for his own life, safety, and health and others, and just being utterly confused as to what the fuck's going on. So that's nowhere like you're not as far to the low end of the scale as you were with Good. And you're also in a wider margin of potential options there. It's not, in Good's case, it's between a 1 and a 2. In his case, it's between a 2 and a 4. So he could be acting somewhere positive or somewhere negative. Now you take a look at the officers, and you say, okay, was he justified? That's a bit difficult to say yes or no. Now, I'm not saying
when you're Monday morning
possible.
quarterbacking it. It is. If you take everything in the totality in the scene at the time, pretty much yes.
It pretty much. So this is the hard part for me on this one.
And
watching it the first time,
I'm not a big cop supporter here, but
yeah, I get it. I get it. You and me both. You and me both. And this is the hard part. My first reaction on it was, I can't rule out that it's going to be that he's acting correctly. But if he's acting correctly, it's going to be in accordance with cop training, and I don't know cop training. Looking at the original videos, I don't think he was. I think he's somewhere. I think he's confused.
A question: do you have a CCW, or have you taken any CCW training or courses?
What's a C? Oh no, I don't.
Okay,
I do not.
Then you would. Okay, well, I can actually tell you what some cop training is because I have. Not the cop training, the concealed carry. But the training is at least on our side of things is you inform them if you're in a state that has a duty to inform, and even if you're not in a state that has a duty to inform, because there's a number of them where you can just carry and you don't have to say a word and whatever. But generally, the best thing to do is you let them know early on, so that is clear. Because
again, this goes back to the
is something could go completely sideways, and he had that CCW. So
I agree with you, right? But this goes back to the analysis of Pretty's intent, which is that's kind of where it ends up as careless disregard. Now, me personally, I'm not sure it's there. I think he's definitely acting more in the fear and confusion paradigm, but it could absolutely go to careless disregard, right? There's a lot of aspects that say
he made a lot of curious choices on top of that, which
he made a ton of curious choices on top of that. So,
like leaving your ID he's not and your concealed carry behind, closing down your social media.
If he had brought his ID on him, it wouldn't have changed whether or not he got shot.
No, it wouldn't have, but it would add a little bit.
So that's a terrible argument.
No, it's not really. Because if he had his ID and his concealed carry license on him, it would mean that he has a consideration towards that. So he wanted to be somewhat anonymous.
He just didn't feel like bringing it with him, or he just forgot it, or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like, there's 1,000 potential reasons why he didn't have it on him.
None of them are good, but fair. Go on.
I don't know, man. I walk out of the hall. I walk out of my house. I get in my car. I drive off to work, and I don't have a fucking ID. Not often, but it does happen.
Well, I've always got an ID if I'm carrying a gun. So I don't know.
And I'm not saying you don't.
Example.
I'm not saying you aren't. I'm just saying it could have been one of those days, right?
Maybe.
Got to go down to the local protest, grab your shit, grab your gun.
Yeah, all right. Like, when you put it that way.
Like it's he could have been partying the night before and just been like, fuck, man, I don't want to go find my concealed carry permit. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. But like, the point is, when watching the video, I can't rule out that the cop is completely justified on the positive end of the spectrum. Sure. But it did kind of look suspicious. So I kind of ruled that one out there. Confusion, absolutely cops there. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that fucking
And
SIG.
so, yeah, well, ignoring that, right? Those are all after the fact things. We're talking about in the moment, right? What's the cop got in the moment?
That's 100% of the moment, because if the SIG malfunctioned as SIGs do, then...
Yeah, it could be.
And that could
so,
be the impetus for this fucking guy being dead instead of alive.
So then you go on to the other side of the spectrum, which is the malicious intent. Do I see anything showing, like, does the cop look like he's acting maliciously? I know that people were like, oh, she shoved a woman. He shoved a woman who was standing in the middle of the road obstructing traffic. It's absolutely I do think this is an inherent problem in our society. And it looks like the protests, by the way, are structuring themselves this way.
Oh, yes.
Women basically get a free fucking pass. And she should have been arrested and thrown in jail for all of the same stuff as any other male protester would be if they were obstructing in the street. And then, he can come in and save her after she got arrested or whatever the hell it was, and he would have just been arrested as well. Again, this all comes down to the fact that we just don't arrest people who break the fucking law. Like, the left gets a pass, and we need to stop this. It's bad for them, and it's bad for us. But, like... she's out there in the middle of the street doing that. The cops are I'm not seeing any malicious intent there. They seem kind of justified in what they're doing. They're not beating the shit out of him. In this case, Pet Pretty did sit there and struggle, and we can see that he's resisting arrest. He doesn't have his hands up. He's not letting go. He's not dropping his phone or anything else to let them take him in or do any of those other things. So the cop is absolutely not engaged in malicious intent. We can rule that out completely.
Now,
reckless disregard.
Real quick,
I really
will
struggle.
make a note on that, because I've seen every fucking angle of that thing. Is that they were a little rough on him. To be fair. But
They were. And so that goes where I can't rule out reckless disregard either.
But to that
right?
same note, he did grab that woman's hair and slam her into the ground. So whatever.
Again, I'm not. They should have arrested her.
It's a clusterfuck of a situation, so it is what it is.
It's a clusterfuck, yeah. I do think that there was some excessive use of force, but I can't say that it's malicious intent. It just looks like reckless disregard for the other safety. And so, we can look at these two examples. In the case of Good, she's 100% in the wrong. The officer's 100% in the right. In the case of Pretty, I can't say that one. I not only cannot I not say that one's 100% in the wrong and one's 100% in the right. I can't even say that their motives radically differ from one another, right? And so it looks like a tragedy, right? Further details could narrow that down or expand that, plus or minus.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it looks like old dude was, just a brainwashed guy that could have had a lot more to offer to the world.
It looks to me, so from what I've been able to tell, it appears that the rundown of events is as follows. They identified it. The guy went into a protest. He does seem to have a history of violence and all the other stuff. It's probably noble cause corruption on Pretty's part. Pretty is concealed carry. They identify the gun. They call for the gun. They alert all the other officers of the gun, as officers are supposed to do. Pretty actively struggles against the arrest. And the officers in the video, from what I've seen, they bail off of him, which I think is cop training.
After they say gun.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't know whether the gun went off.
You can watch the video with the sound. The gun, they say gun. Moment later, the gun goes off. Well, a gun goes off, but it looks like it's the gun that the guy pulled from his waist as he's walking away, holding it in like a claw grip.
Yeah. Either way, if the gun goes off after they identified the gun, my understanding from other people, and this comes from like what I've been able to gather from cop training, is if gun is identified, somebody attempts to disarm the suspect, and the rest of the officers are to continue with the arrest, unless, of course, the gun starts going off, in which case they're all supposed to bail, which you see. Every single one of them tucks and rolls to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And then the covering officer aims and fires. And my wife took that as they're executing the guy, but in the videos that she saw, she couldn't see from the cop's perspective. And my understanding seems to be that Pretty had his cell phone once they released him and bailed to the side to get out of, hey, active shooter scenario. He now has his cell phone, is quickly rotating around, and the cop basically could only see a black object.
That's fair.
And that is unfortunate.
Still have his cell phone in his hand. I don't think he had ever dropped it from the time that the arrest had started. So, no, I think that's the case.
Yeah.
And, yeah, what happened there? It's just... It's unfortunate that such an otherwise worthwhile man has thrown away his life for nothing.
It is.
Or, to be honest, maybe even thrown his life away to make the world worse. Which is all the more tragic.
Yeah. It is definitely very tragic. That one's... Pretty's death is... I think Trump took the right action, which is to remove Bovino, have a frank discussion with Kristi Noem, although nobody knows exactly what that discussion was. I'm still at we're now a year into this administration. I haven't warmed up to Bondi, and Noem was an unknown when she went into me, and I haven't warmed up to her. I haven't I think that what she did when she sat there and labeled this guy a domestic terrorist, I think that was
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous.
absolutely that was ridiculous.
And Stephen Miller, I think, said something about like this guy came around to assassinate people. It's like, come on, people.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
now that said, Bavino is apparently not fired. Just as an update, has just been moved off scene to head things from his home office, and the whole like shakeup wasn't really a shakeup at all. It looks like that was actually just Waltz folding and saying, "Okay, fine, we're going to do that." Because I've actually been watching some of the
it definitely
I've been watching some of the live riot covers the last few days, and it's nothing like it was. Like local cops, sheriffs, highway patrol, they got their boys in there dealing with the problems, and the energy on the color revolution side very, very low. It's not like what it was before. Well, before
that's what I turn around and I observe, right? Like I remember, I saw on Tuesday I went skiing and I got sick at the same time. I was watching Tim Pool is like that Trump has folded, and then I saw all the videos afterwards, and it's like Minneapolis police have decided to intercede. I saw the speech that oh shit, I can't remember his name now. Guy whose borders are Homan. Yeah, I saw Homan come out and give his speech. And I'm like, between these two things, it doesn't look like Trump has surrendered at all.
No, it sounds like a surge the way they're describing it.
No, I don't think it's a surge. I think they turned around and they said, look, you guys, with your laws here, we are going to get the illegals out. We have a priority list. This is the law. If you decide to impede the law, we're going to fucking come after you as sedition. And then on top of that, like, I think the other thing, too, that really worked out in Trump's favor is the leak of the what is that? The leak of the chats, right? The leak of the signal chats. That worked out really well for fucking Trump. That worked out real fucking well for Trump.
Oh, a quick note on that too, by the way, is this one of the main Stop ICE groups, one of their websites, has been hacked.
Really?
And it was hacked by a patriotic group. So they've passed along all of that data to all of the relevant authorities.
Interesting. So, like, are they? I know Homan was asked about that. He said, "Hey, what's going to happen with the Signal Group?" And he said something along the lines of, "Justice is coming." And he said it with a big fucking smile on his face. Like, the thing is that the revelation of the Signal chat groups is a strong. There's two things about that, right?
Well, it shows
it means that it's not protest. This is coordinated.
Oh yeah.
Coordinated insurgency.
And not just coordinated, like this is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Because the complexity of just the Signal groups are quite noteworthy.
Yeah. So, like, I think it was really funny to me because, like, finding the Signal chats, it's one thing to turn around and have groups that are doing this, and they get to sit there and pretend this shit's fucking organic. And we can all look at that and say, hey, yeah, this doesn't look fucking organic. Mm-hmm. This looks like it's coordinated. And we don't have any proof of that. Now they got proof of it. They got proof of the whole entire thing. They got proof that it went up the chain. Something like the Signal chats are probably enough. If they had found Waltz or Frey in them, that would have been enough to convict either of them of sedition.
And there's some people that are pretty closely connected to him, so
yeah,
there's very well possible they got a bit of a sword of Damocles hanging over them. So wouldn't surprise me if there's like a listen. You're just gonna comply, or things are gonna get a lot more complicated.
Mm.
But let's get to some good news here real quick. So, have you heard about the Freedom 250?
The what?
Well, 250 years, my friend.
I have not.
Well, it's gonna happen in Washington D.C. The Freedom 250 Grand Prix IndyCar
What?
American Circuit in Washington D.C.
That's kind of awesome.
Isn't it though? That's
That is
actually
kinda
pretty
awesome.
fucking dope. There's a whole video and everything for it. It's pretty slick. So there's
So they're actually going to do a real Indy race in DC.
a full on real deal Indy race in downtown Washington D.C. That is going to be
That's
some of the
fucking
most
amazing.
picturesque shit ever.
Dude, if they turn, see, that's the thing is you got the Monaco race. There's a lot of like F1 races that happen
there's not
overseas.
a proper American one other than the occasional one that they've done. I think they did one in Vegas. I think they've done like one or two in California.
Yeah. I think the DC one is fantastic and they should probably do it every year.
Oh hell yeah!
Like
That'd be
realistically, there should be like we need to those are the kinds of events, and I'm not a NASCAR fan. I'm not, right? So an Indy race is not going to be something that I'm going to be like, yeah, let's go
awesome.
watch
No.
it.
IndyCar,
But we should.
Formula One.
I thought Indy's was the stock car racing.
No. Formula One.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be a fucking F1 race?
Yes, in Washington D.C. downtown.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Now you're yes.
Oh my God.
Like how fucking cool is
Those
that?
things are pinnacles of engineering, man.
They are marvels of modern science and technology.
They really are. Yeah, I think that's great. That's fucking amazing. Yeah, we should do that every year.
Oh, totally.
That makes it even better than a stock car race.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a stock car race is kind of
Yeah, no, we're not talking stock car. We're talking Formula One. That's why I mentioned the specificity of this. There's only been like a handful of Grand Prix in the U.S.
Yeah.
So above and beyond that, it's just another really big deal. Also, we are but a few days out from Americans going beyond the moon for the first time in a long time.
Really?
Yes, sir. I believe that's this month.
I didn't know about that.
Let me get the exact date here. When does that launch? Yeah, these 4 astronauts will be traveling. The 8th. Okay. 6 days. 6 days on the Artemis mission.
And what's the point of return for them?
A 10-day journey. They'll be swinging around the moon and coming back.
They're just doing it at a further out orbit?
Yeah.
Got it.
And, probably there's a lot of testing that's going into that, too. So, it's like we got to make sure we can get it out to that far place. Make sure we can get the right slingshot around the moon, all kinds of things.
Yeah. Like I didn't realize that we sent something out to the moon. Like it's been a long time since we sent something out to the moon.
And we're going to go ahead and just jump on past it to make sure we can just do
Those
the whole thing.
Those poor flat earthers. What are they going to do when they can't sit there and point to the Van Allen radiation belts and go, "Oh my God, this is a barrier for us ever permeating fucking space"?
Don't you mean the firmament, sir?
No, the firmament's different. The Van Allen radiation belts are their proof that somehow, like... Oh, no, sorry, I take that back. The Van Allen radiation belts are the proof that the moon landing was a hoax. I'm getting my conspiracy theories mixed up.
It happens. Well, that... what is it? Maybe you lost your notes in a mud flood.
Yeah, I probably did.
That's
Jesus Christ, man.
That's what it was.
It is always amazing to me, like, people's misconception about radiation. They're like, every time I heard this, I'm like, hold on. There's like 2 aspects of this. There's this belt, so it's obviously some sort of barrier or band that you have to pass through. What's the transit time of the fucking belt, and what's the dose rate in the belt? And it's like, they get through it in like an hour.
Yeah, it's
Like you're
something like
passing
your
through the Van Allen radiation belts in like an
I think
hour,
somebody
and you're like, all
described it as
right,
being similar to like a long distance flight.
yeah, it's about that. It's about so
Like one of those
when we
big
talk
cross
about
Atlantic or cross Pacific flights, but like it's about, from what I understand, it's about like one of
it's
those.
it's so typically when you turn around and you start talking about like comparative radiological stuff, um, so a chest X-ray is about 100 millirem. A transatlantic flight, I think, comes out to be something like 300 millirem. And like my exposure my lifetime accumulated dose working in a nuclear facility is less than 10. But it's kind of like that. It's about 100 for a chest X-ray. A transatlantic flight is like 300 millirem. I think if I remember correctly, the Van Allen radiation belt is like half a rem. It's like 500 millirem, which is actually pretty substantial when you consider what our ALARA principles are and everything else that we go. But like it's nothing. It's nothing. Your federal limit for workers on the ground is 5,000 millirem per year, or 5 rem, and the biological dose rate at which you see blood changes is like 10 rem for the fucking year. And by the way, that stuff, your blood gets replenished in what, 30 days or whatever.
Yeah, and there's other
So,
things you can legitimately do these days that'll help flush your systems of radioactive
right.
contamination.
Like,
And there's stuff you can do beforehand, take your iodine, all this and that. Yeah.
well, iodine's only significant in the event that you have a core explosion, because in a core explosion, particularly, so if you shut down a core, radioactive iodine is one of the gaseous byproducts, and it's got this huge cross-sectional
okay.
area.
So
It's
you're
actually
you're
why we
wanting to make
can't.
sure you've got iodine for it to bind to in your system then.
Yeah. So you don't need the
Gotcha.
iodine to reduce. Like basically, the way it works is if I have a core explosion. So if I shut down a reactor, I actually have a period of time. I think it's 16 hours before I can even think about potentially restarting the reactor. And the reason for that is as the reaction is going in the reactor, you get byproducts. And these byproducts, when there is a high enough neutron flux, like some of these byproducts have just huge cross-section areas. It's like literally shooting a gun at the broadside of a barn from point blank range. It's just sucking up a fucking neutron every time you're doing that. So if my core is operational and I have enough neutrons in the core, it doesn't really matter because these things are absorbing the neutrons and then they're being eliminated from the system and processed. But if I shut down the criticality of the reaction, if I drop my neutron flux down below, or my neutron replication below a certain threshold, these things are just present in the reactor. And so when I shut down a reactor, one of the things that comes out as one of our radioactive decay products / a fission byproducts is iodine. I can't remember what the actual isotope is. It doesn't really matter. But this iodine has a massive fucking cross-section, just massive fucking cross-section, way bigger than uranium. The probability of hitting it with a neutron in a reactor is very, very high. And so if I was to if I was to shut a reactor down and in like the first 16 hours attempt to restart the reactor, I'm looking at being super critical where I get, generation 1 neutrons are X, generation Y neutrons, N plus whatever neutrons are X number of X times X, and I get this scaling factor. But if I've got this radioiodine in the system, it just fucking soaks neutrons. So there's this period of time of about 16 hours between when a reactor is shut down and when this stuff is decayed away, because it's got a very, very fast decay rate where the stuff is present. So if the reactor vessel ruptures in that period of time, then you need a radioiodine tablet. And that's because I think it's an alpha emitter. And more importantly, iodine is a critical element that you absorb very rapidly and readily into your cells, which means that if you turn around and if you have a core explosion event with a whole bunch of radioiodine that goes into the atmosphere, you will absorb it into your system because it'll come through your lung tissues and get absorbed into your body, and it'll start bonding in all the places that you have iodine, and it'll do a ton of fucking damage. So you take iodine tablets, which are nothing more than your standard iodine, which is not radioiodine because it's already all the radioiodine isotopes have decayed away. And so it's just standard iodine, and so you flood iodine in your system, which will probably give you the shits, might make you vomit. It's not something that you want to do. Yeah, it's a micronutrient, but you don't need a lot of it.
Yeah, not a macronutrient.
It's not a macronutrient, right? Like, we iodize salt because people don't tend to, like, iodine is one of those things that is pretty easy to not get enough of, and it causes problems when you don't get enough of it. But at the same time, it's also because it can be you can do it as sodium iodide, which is really what our table salt has, is a mixture of some sodium iodide with the sodium chloride. And so the sodium iodide, the iodine, oh my God, can't remember. Iodine. The iodine anion is present in your system, and it's rapidly absorbed, which is why we have it in table salt. And so we do these salt tabs where you just flood your system with iodine, which gives you the shits, makes you sick. It's not going to be pleasant in any way because it's a crazy fucking element to top your system up of, but it's basically dilution is the solution to pollution. So if you breathe in a whole bunch of radioiodine and you have all this excess iodine, you just start excreting the crap out of your iodine. You have a ton of iodine that's being absorbed into your system. And so the amount that will actually be absorbed, the amount that's actually needed by your system, because your system will get rid of all the excess iodine, the amount that will be absorbed by your system will predominantly be the non-radioactive iodine component, because you take the iodine tablets. That's why you need those things. If you take them in space, it doesn't fucking matter. Space is very, very different in terms of your radiological component. That actually, what's fascinating about space radiation, so most of the stuff that we're worried about here with our nuclear byproducts is our gammas and our neutrons. Well, really not neutrons. Neutrons are like, you have to be in the right environment to get neutron exposure. Most of it tends to be gammas. And the reason for gammas is they go everywhere. They're hard to shield. They penetrate your deep tissue. Your alphas just, like, they hit the first layer of dead skin and they're done. Your betas will get to a certain depth within your skin. And so, like, you know, it's damaging to eye tissue because eye tissue is not particularly thick and it's very sensitive. So you can get cataracts and shit like that. But the real stuff that will, like, if I give you a large amount of gamma will pass all the way through your body. So you get a whole body dose. And this is a very significant concept, is your whole body dose. Because every cell is essentially getting exposed to the same amount of radiation. And again, most of these photons, they're just flying straight through your body. They're not interacting with everything. And so it's a probability mechanism of how many of the gamma rays, how many of the gamma photons are actually hitting your cells. And so dose rates are just the quantity of gamma rays per square centimeter. And then you have a probabilistic calculation based on your carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen atoms as to whether it's going to hit a bond that's actually significant in any meaningful way. That is our nuclear industry, because it's predominantly gamma. Space is very, very different. Space, you have high energy alpha particles and high energy beta particles. And ultimately, the more energy you put into a particle, be it something like high energy gammas, or you put it into high energy betas, or which is electrons, or positrons, antimatter, or you turn around and have it into your alphas. If you have these high energy particles, the higher and higher energy they go, the further it penetrates into your tissues before it gets hit. Essentially, it zooms faster. And so the probability of interacting with any individual nucleus is decreased because it's moving faster through all the nucleuses. which means that you go from when you have these high energy alphas and high energy betas, which are produced as a result of the reactions in the sun, but there's nothing shielding you, right? We don't have an atmosphere in space. The atmosphere is absorbing that radiation for you, which is how we get carbon-14 and all the other fun radioisotopes therein. So all this stuff is zipping through your friggin' space capsule. And because it's high energy stuff, it actually penetrates beyond the first layer of your space capsule. And obviously for space stuff, they're trying to do two things, right? They're trying to make it lighter, because that makes it less difficult to get into the
Less
upper
weight,
atmosphere.
less money. Yeah, no.
But less weight. Less weight is good for fuel and bad for shielding. And so what you have, because there's less electrons, and electrons produce the predominant form of shielding unless you're dealing with neutrons. You do have some neutrons up in space, doesn't really matter. But your big thing is you have these high energy alphas and high energy beta gammas, which, unlike the stuff that we typically see from radioactive decay from our mixed fission products or our activated corrosion products or any one of the other control systems that we deal with, when you're out in space, these are things that are produced from fusion reactions, right? It is literally high energy alpha particles, high energy beta particles. They are streaming at an incredibly high rate of speed. They're not being attenuated by our atmosphere. They're not being attenuated by our magnetosphere. And all you have is a very thin sheet of metal between you and the vacuum of space, where there is nothing that they have interacted with at all in any way, shape, or form. And so what ends up happening is you have very high dose rates. Now, because we have the magnetosphere, what ends up happening is a lensing effect right on the outside of the atmosphere. And so you get this, you get the stream of positively charged particles that are produced from the sun, and they stream around the Earth. And so this creates the Van Allen radiation belts. But in reality, it is not particularly scary because, one, you pass through it in about an hour, right? They're not particularly thick, and you're going very, very fast, and they're not particularly thick. So it takes about an hour to transit them. In this period of time, these are all heavily charged particles, which are easier to move than, say, a photon, right? Like I can deflect a particle with mass with my electromagnetic field that's around the Earth. But these are high energy particles, so they zip on through as alphas and betas, and so you get a very high dose rate not because of the necessarily quantity or how fast they're going, but because of the fact that they are able to penetrate deeper into your tissues than would a standard alpha or beta particle that is emitted from radioactive decay. And so that is why it is dangerous. But even then, it's not particularly dangerous. I think it's like 500 millirem. Your dose comes out to be something like 500 millirem. The average yearly allowable federal dose for an astronaut is like 25 rem. For a federal worker, it's 5 rem. Are they going to be sitting there and exceeding that? No. On their path out and their path back, they'll pick up an extra rem. The rest of the time they're out there, like they'll probably be picking up 5 to 10 rem over the course of a trip. But even then, like, it's just nothing, right? It's like 5% of the entire dose of their mission is coming from the Van Allen belts.
Well,
sorry,
probably
that's
not
my
a tremendous amount.
No,
in the grand scheme of things, at least.
It is not.
So, all said. Yeah, like I said, roughly then about a flight, about a transatlantic flight. Give or take, But, I guess that'd be something you don't want to be constantly flying through it or just kind of live there, but...
No, you wouldn't want to live there.
But a quick trip.
But, like, again, right, like, why would I? I can pick... if you turn around and you talk about a lot of what Elon Musk does, he does a lot of low Earth orbit stuff. low Earth orbit, you don't have any atmosphere that you're dealing with, so you can just kind of sit there forever. The Van Allen radiation belts are pretty far out there.
Oh, yeah. Out to the point where you actually are trying to get away from Earth as opposed to just put something in the sky.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so let's see here. We've got let's close it out with a little bit of good news then. So we've got a jury award for a person by the name of Fox Varian for $2 million after her psychologist and surgeon were found liable for medical malpractice related to a mastectomy done on a girl at the age of 16. And this is kind of the first in what may be a long series of lawsuits related to the gender psychosis that we've watched unfold over the past few years, past decade. What am I saying? So,
well, and I think a while back in the Biden era, I remember having this discussion, and we talked about like, should we ban it? Should we not? We had this kind of discussion. I said, no, I think that's not the case. Like, I don't think you should ban gender affirming care. I'm not saying that I agree with it. I don't. But I think that if you turn around and said, hey, anybody who turns around and sterilizes a child or introduces these kinds of surgeries to a child, in the event that the child chooses later in life that they weren't really trans, then you are financially on the hook for the entire thing. That would fix it.
Well, let's hope that this sets a good precedent, because it certainly needs fixing.
Yep.
But yeah, so
because it means that they didn't do their due diligence. They just turn around and like, this is the biggest problem that we have, is that we have people who are just put on a pipeline to get this treatment, and nobody's even bothered to ask whether or not it's a necessary treatment or whether that's the underlying problem.
Yeah, pretty much. So in further 250-year anniversary news, we have the recently reformed Cracker Barrel has announced that they have jumped on board in the celebration of America's 250th year. They are an official partner. I don't know what exactly that means, but they'll probably do some kind of cool menu things and advertisements and maybe some tie-ins or something. That said, I do actually have a local Cracker Barrel. They do not have Valo milk. I hate them. But
they don't have what?
You're familiar with Mallow cups, right?
I'm not. Okay. Oh, Mallow cups. Yeah. I think I've heard of them. I can't remember them.
Peanut butter in a Reese cup.
Basically. No.
Well, that's a Mallow cup. Valo milk is made with instead of marshmallow fluff, it's made with the old school marshmallow fluff that's really runny, and it's just made with straight real chocolate cups. So they are horrifyingly delicious. That they're a little messy, and they're also made with just all whole food ingredients, and they're incredibly hard to find. But anyway, they're supposed to have them at Cracker Barrel, and they don't at mine, so it is what it is. But anyway, luckily, my Cracker Barrel did manage to survive. They did the second layer, or the second edition update, which was they painted the walls, but left all the stuff. So it's a little bit brighter inside, but they left all the cool tchotchkes and everything. So it's what they should have done the whole time.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a Cracker Barrel fan. I'm glad that you are, right? Like,
that's now another update. They're also doing the other smart thing. Instead of throwing money at an open pit, they're actually working on freshening up their food and fixing their recipes. Which is
fixing their recipes.
Yeah, apparently they've been really falling behind, so they're going to be making food properly. I don't know if you've been here when we've reported on some of the stuff that's happened at Cracker Barrel. So
I remember like the outrage from a little while ago where somebody came in that basically turned Cracker Barrel into Chipotle, which fucking sucked.
Well, above and beyond that, they didn't just do that. They because Chipotle makes your shit fresh. Because above that, what they were doing is they were doing all of their food in batches in the morning, all of it.
Mm.
So like all the biscuits get made and they get thrown in the freezer. All the chili gets made, thrown in the freezer, individually portioned out in plastic sacks and shit. So by the time you get it, it's even if you get there in the morning, your food isn't fresh because it will have been made an hour or two before and frozen and microwave reheated. So they're fixing that, which is one of the real issues because people have had a lot of. That's why there's been so much trouble with it is they didn't bother fixing the real problem, which was their food had kind of started to slide because they were doing the private equity bullshit thing that private equity does. But they've turned it around, so we'll hold out hope for them.
I'm just still waiting. I want somebody to bring back beef tallow fries.
I've had them a few times. They're delicious. Do you not have a steak escape? Or steak and shake?
You know what's kind of wild to me is so I started cooking bacon. I don't necessarily cook a lot, but like I'm prepping for when we have the kid. I'm gonna kind of switch back to a very primitive lifestyle, right? Just to conserve money, right? I'm not gonna be able to go buy food whenever because it's convenient. Because I will have time. I will be at home. The expectation will be that my wife will probably cook as much as I can make her cook, but she's going to have a C-section to start. So that'll be 2 weeks of probably me making my own shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what's wild is you get bacon grease. So we've got cast iron stuff. We got a ton of cast iron stuff I shouldn't say we have a ton. I've got a cast iron, my stovetop is a premium stovetop with a cast iron griddle as well as cast iron, pieces to make it work, and then my wife picked up a lodge pan, which is a cast iron pan. Nice. And so the cast iron pan needs to constantly be its maintenance is pretty simple. It actually develops a nice patina, but you got to make sure you heat it up
after you get it seasoned.
Yeah, so you got to season it, and you got to make sure that you continue to season it and make sure you don't just strip out the grease. And then, because otherwise, if you keep it greased, it works out really well as basically a non-stick pan, which is fucking wild.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I turned around what was it? Might have been yesterday. No, it can't be yesterday. Might have been Friday. I have I took bacon last weekend. I made bacon, and I took all the bacon grease and I pipetted it into the pan. And I re-seasoned it, heated it all up to the point of, as metal expansion, all the other stuff. Because that's basically what seasoning the pan is. It's expanding the pores in the cast iron, and then you soak it with oil. Mm-hmm. And then you let it cool, and the pores cool back down. And so there's always, basically you get this layer of oil and pores. And the pores are coated in oil on the interior of them, and so it's just these little gaps that you have, and so it ends up being an effectively nonstick surface because it's all cooking between the little micro fractures, the thing and the oil in between those cracks. And you just do oil refreshes.
Takes in some of those smoky flavors as well, and is able to impart those to your food.
Yeah. Because the oil's doing an extraction of all of your organics or whatever, so you just get little hints of everything that you've cooked in there before. Once you get a good smattering of whatever you cook, it has the flavors are no longer leaching out; they're leaching back in, and so it ends up being more flavorful food overall than anything else. But I put in a fuck ton of bacon fat. I just pipetted all of the bacon fat that I had from the bacon that I was cooking that day into the pan. And I seasoned the sides. I did all the right stuff that I'm supposed to do, and I just left it there. And so it was this pile of bacon grease. And I went to go make eggs on Friday. I was like, man, there's a whole pile of bacon grease there. Yep. I should probably scoop it out and be responsible. Yeah, that's what I was like. And I'm like, you know what? It's going to be bacony eggs. And you know what? That's not true. You pipe it out you have the bacon, and the bacon is salty and delicious and fatty and wonderful and baked because it's bacon. Who can complain about bacon? But you take the bacon grease, and the bacon grease is surprisingly clean as an oil. And so I
Yes.
had this standing bacon grease, and I made my eggs in it, and so I ate those eggs, and it was rough to eat them because it was like
Probably pretty oily.
fat, but it wasn't flavored fat. There's nothing your bacon grease is surprisingly fucking clean. And
It
I can
is.
just
And
imagine what it's like to
I'll
have.
tell you the trick to doing that is to pour off the bacon after you've let it cool or pour off the grease after you've let it cool for a bit. And that layer that remains that has the little nubbins and little like charred bits, that is what you cook your eggs in, with that little bit of oil that's left from that. Without actually taking everything out. So there's like a little bit of, so there's an actual layer of oil left over. Because that'll actually hold on to all that flavor. Because just like you said, bacon fat is a surprisingly clean fat.
I was honestly surprised at how clean it was.
Yeah.
Like if I was to have turned around and like, I don't think I had any of the crispy little bits or whatever, because I was just pipetting the stuff as a clean oil from the.
Well, that's the trick
from
of
the
it.
skillet.
You've actually got to have some of the bacon, otherwise you'll just about have none.
Yeah, you get like zero flavor from it. It's just fat. It was the fattiest eggs I have ever had, and it tasted like eggs, and like I knew there was fat there. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, some greasy eggs, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to put, the trick to that is putting some meat in there, because honestly, what I'll do, if I'm just going to be real super quick about it, is I'll put about a spoonful, about a half a tablespoon of bacon fat into into a microwave safe bowl, put that in for a minute to let it, take it out of the fridge and put it in there for a minute and let it get to whatever. Throw a few things in it, so preferably some dry herbs, because, being an oil, it's going to go ahead and pull a little bit out of that and give you some flavor. And then, like, something that's real good there is, like, if you've got, like, an onion powder, that'll do really, really well, because it'll pull the flavor out of that, and it's usually got a bit of saltiness to itself. But, whatever. Chives are also really excellent, but, chives and eggs are great. But you get what I'm saying. Something like that. Something to throw a little flavor into it, then break the eggs on top, throw it in the microwave for like a minute with a towel over it. A little paper towel or whatever, and then I got some eggs and just kind of chop them up, throw them on a tortilla or a piece of bread with some salsa, and, you got a strong breakfast in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely do not mind cooking with the bacon and the eggs. And I was thinking I was just going to be able to save on the saltiness, but you really I got salted butter. Use the salted fucking butter, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is. I could have easily turned around and taken plain unseasoned fries and cooked them in that bacon fat, and they would have still been plain unseasoned fries.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It really is. Bacon fat is specifically bacon fat. I don't know if all the other fat portions of the pig are as clean in flavor, but yeah, bacon fat is surprisingly clean.
Yeah. I would never have guessed that had I not run that experiment.
Yeah.
And my wife looked at me like I was an idiot. She's like, "Yeah, of course it's clean." I'm like, "Fucking 4-H'ers."
All right. Well, let's see here. What else do I have? Okay, so we've got that one. That's the America 250. We don't really have any other. Oh yeah, we do have an interesting update. The last show at the Trump Kennedy Center, because that's what it's called now, is going to be, I believe, in July, and then it will be closed down for 2 years while it undergoes complete modernization and renovation. Apparently, the funding has been secured independently, so it's not going to be on the taxpayer dime. So I'm sure it will be an amazing venue once it's all said and done. Because
Yep.
I mean, it's always been kind of nice, but it's just not modern anymore. So that'll have it.
Well,
I hope
we
that
shall
it.
we shall see.
I hope the ballroom gets finished before that does. Because we're still waiting, and there is not a West Wing or East Wing.
Yeah, well, I
But,
mean,
yeah,
contractors take their sweet time, right? So we
that is true.
edition, and it's just two guys in a truck, and it takes however long it takes to get done.
Well,
In
in
any
this
case,
case, it's not just two guys, but yeah, still,
I know.
it's a couple
Contractors are slow, man.
more. Well,
But
it's a job. It'll happen as it happens. It's just one of those things.
yep.
So, a quick update: the SAVE Act is another. Like I say, we're closing with good news. So, the SAVE Act has been updated and will now require photo ID in addition to proof of U.S. citizenship to vote in U.S. elections. Which, great.
Oh,
That's how it should be, how it always should have been. So that'll put us on par with all these European nations that everybody says we should be more like. There you go.
which, to be honest, I agree. Their regulations tend to be.
There's a few
There's a lot
things
of
that I'm on
bullshit.
par with, and there's a whole lot of dumb bullshit. But their food regulations, pretty okay.
You'd be surprised. Their safety regs. I can tell you if you wanna find some. Well, it's not going to piss off anybody else who doesn't actually have a child. But if you're about to have a child, look up the Thule maple. The Thule maple is a very, very, very well rated child carrier, and it's only available in Europe. Why is that? Because the American standard for safety, in order to get the stamp of approval to sell it in the fucking country, you end up having to do the American testing instead of the European testing. So despite the fact that this model has the highest standards in the European setting, and the European setting is tested at higher crash test speeds with more angles, the United States standard only tests from a front end collision. The European standard tests from front, side, and rear collisions. And so it scores better in that safety testing, and it does it at higher speeds. We test at 50, they test at 64 miles per hour. Despite the fact that it's literally better in every way as a safety reg, it can't be sold in the United States. It's absurd. Fucking absurd.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, like we were talking about last week with baby formula. The person that was importing European baby formula because there was nothing available, and there's genuinely healthy alternatives in Europe that don't have seed oils.
Yep.
The guy's, back up against the wall. No update, unfortunately, on that, but I do sincerely hope that RFK is working on that because that guy got a shit deal out of things.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, truly. So we covered actually the split as of December was actually Windows 10 regaining at 44.68% with 11 declining, and I believe it has gone up a little bit more. So Windows, so they're still a little bit over, but Windows 11 as of December, have I got an exact date? No, just December, probably the beginning of the month, realistically, was at 50.68%, 10 at 44.64%, up from just about 42% that it hit in July of last year, and then rose again, and then fell back again to about 42% later in October of last year, again back up to 44 and on the rise. And honestly, with things going how they are, I don't see that changing much. So in addition, it looks like Windows 7 has gone from about 1% to about 1.5% to 2%. They don't have it on the chart Oddly, I don't know why they. Oh no, 3.92%. My bad.
Mm.
That's astonishing. It's at least doubled, so it had to be at like 1.5, maybe 2% adoption. Windows, no. Windows XP has gone up 2.42%. Windows 8 has. Oh, okay. So Windows 8 has declined. Thank goodness. And Windows 8.1. That's ridiculous. Boy, they've really screwed the pooch on that one. Basically everyone that's been an update since December, and even those weren't great. All right, what was one of the other cool things here? Oh yeah, fun story. Here's your feel-good story of the week. There's a coyote out in, I think it's out of San Francisco. Yeah, that should be out near San Francisco. That's where Alcatraz is. And he felt he's walked the path of the penguin, and so he swam and swam and swam, and he made it to Alcatraz. And you see, on Alcatraz, there's a whole bunch of nesting birds. And so, by golly, this little coyote, he's living fat and happy. And then, of course, there's some kind of debate on, like, should we remove this animal? Is it dangerous to the nesting birds? Let the coyote live his best life, people. Don't hate fun so much. But you know who does hate fun? Pretty much most of the left. You're going to love this. So out in Minneapolis, they are setting up barricades, and they are checking your IDs and papers to ensure that you're able to pass. This would be the rioters and everything, not the ICE people. They're actually looking for the ICE people. There's some kind of irony in these Stop ICE people, asking people if they have their papers. I don't know. There's just something about that
there is.
It sounds familiar to me in some way. I just can't put it together. It's like, man, I've heard this story before somewhere. I just can't place it. Just on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't tell you where. What else have we got here? I know I've got one other thing I was wanting to cover specifically. We're doing good news, so we'll avoid some of the more annoying things. But just as a real quick, YouTube's being a little bit weird with Tyler Olivier's current stuff, so look for it elsewhere if you need to. He's been putting out some very interesting documentaries of late. So what's the last one? Oh, that's right. Okay, so Second Amendment Foundation has an amicus brief filed in the marijuana proceedings that I believe it was... I can't remember who's backing the case. California Rifle and Pistol Association. So they've joined that. It's United States versus Hamani. Basically, you've got a person who's perfectly legal other than the fact that they have a medical marijuana card. And, upstanding citizen, upright, no background issues, no nothing. And he's like, all right, well, I've got my card. I want to buy a gun. I'm going to write on here that I have this. And then, of course, they say no, because you have to, under 4473, you got to say if you are or are not a user of marijuana. Although there is an update that has not yet been put into place that will clarify that to a degree, interestingly. But as it stands currently, this challenge has going to make its way up. It looks like this has a good chance of hitting SCOTUS. As of right now, where does it sit? I think it's in District Federal Court. And
I'm still waiting on the rescheduling from Class 1 to Class 3 to go into effect.
Yeah, that'll change a lot of things. There's basically a lot of things become non-issues once that happens.
Yep.
So
only the people who insist on recreational use.
So
But, yep.
that's about it. There's not. I mean, there's a lot more I'd like to cover, but I've legitimately got a lot of shit to do, and I think we've hit most of the major high points and a lot of the less discussed points of the Epstein drama. So
There we go.
yeah, there will be more.
All right, man.
There will undoubtedly be more, but for now, yeah, we tried to hit what we could. And sir, you be good. Have yourself
Have a
good
good
week.
night.
Hope the family does well and continues to thrive.
We will. Replication is in the future.
Hey, there you go. And with that,
All right.
that is that. So everybody be well, be safe, be good, etc. And we talk to you soon. Oh yeah.
Later. Bye-bye.
So
Have a good night, man.
yeah, you as well, sir. You as well. Good night. I almost did the thing without doing the proper outro. So that was Steve at Ratman720. I'm Evan at That Fake Guy Dan. I'm my man Craig at CraigBob99. You can find all of us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. That's where we're most active. Besides that, thank you kindly for listening in. If you made it all the way to the end, make sure and leave a comment so I know you did. And share the show around. We're seeing some decent numbers, and by golly, by golly, man, I should have thrown in like a couple of extra slurs, but oh well, it's too late. Be good, people. Talk to you soon.